Bleh, I want to suck your cock. Happy Halloween, my little monsters. That's a Lady Gaga thing. I gotta call you guys something else. Let me ask you, what's the scariest Halloween monster known to man?
Skeletons.
Ooh. No, none of those. I mean, maybe that last one. Last two Halloweens since I've been trapped in here, I talked about nostalgia, Scary Godmother 1 and 2. But I would recommend you don't watch the first review. I was just a bit right outside of high school, and I didn't understand proper lighting or camera equipment or obviously good stage makeup. There unfortunately is no Scary Godmother 3 yet, so we have to talk about another hazy memory. But all the previous Halloweens I have been alone, so I'm excited that I managed to set up a viewer mail function in my computer. So it's gonna print out a little piece of paper, thank you, and it's gonna tell us what thing we're gonna talk about today. So today's special Halloween topic is... I should have expected this. My Babysitter's a Vampire, not the hit Fred song The Babysitter's a Vampire that came out the same year. That's an important distinction. That was also made into a completely different movie. Is a light horror slash drama slash comedy show for preteens and teens made by the production company Fresh TV, the same people who produced Total Drama, Stoked, and 16. Loophole. So by the year 2011, they had 5 products. One show I've talked about before, the 3 I listed, the My Babysitter's a Vampire movie, My Babysitter's a Vampire show. At some point, I will talk about their entire roster. I don't want to talk about the baby one, though. But despite all the other cartoons that are listed by Fresh TV, this didn't air on the Cartoon Network, despite Cartoon Network having live-action shows at the time. This aired on the Disney Channel. Say what you will about Disney Channel being sanitized and for little babies, but they pulled out all the stops when it came to Halloween. Halloween Town, Under Wraps, Don't Look Under the Bed, the episode of That's So Raven where they turn into cows. I'm gonna bring it up every time. And I remembered this show being a very important part of the Disney Channel lineup, but with a common theme of all these videos, I remembered incorrectly. First of all, I remember it lasting way longer. They only have 2 seasons, 26 episodes in total, that only spanned 2 years, and they only aired it in the summer. Like, they aired new episodes a lot, but only around that specific time period. And I did just say summer. Out of its 2-year runtime on the Disney Channel, it aired 26 episodes, 1 of which aired in October, at the very beginning of the month, as the final episode of the show. I remembered a ton of this wrong. I have very specific memories about very specific moments, but that's it. Similar to in TWF, how the only thing I remembered is 4, 3, 2, 1, who will be the strongest thumb, despite watching it all the time. I watch this show all the time, and all I remember off the top of my head is that there's a MacGuffin called the Cubulate Animus, and I didn't look that up, I just remembered it the first time I watched it, and then never forgot. I also remembered there being a substantial gap between the airing of the movie on Disney Channel and the airing of the show on Disney Channel. So my child brain was like, oh, they saw the popularity of the movie and adapted it into a show. But in reality, the movie aired in the US June 10th, 2011, and the first episode of the show premiered in the US June 27th, 2011. So no gap at all. Unless they scripted, shot, and edited the show in 2 weeks. Across the pond in Canada, the pond? What pond? The movie originally aired in October 2010, finally a network that understands Halloween, and the show came after, premiering in February 2011. But that is still a super quick turnaround for an entirely new show. So there are 2 possibilities, noting I haven't rewatched it yet. 1, the movie was made as a pitch for the show, which is likely, or 2, the show is made very cheaply, so it was easy to turn around a product fast. Also not impossible. She's the girl next door. Nice but naughty, a heart that's pure. I always thought the lyric was nice but naughty, a heart that's pure, and that's what lyricsondemand.com says, but the subtitles for the series on Netflix say, nice but not in a heart that's pure. But that makes even less sense. This is a top-tier theme song, by the way, still one of the best to ever do it. I also never noticed the theme song dropped a Maybelline reference. Do they still use the Maybe It's Maybelline line? My Babysitter's a Vampire, the movie, is the story of 2 nerds, Ethan and Benny, or as I like to call them, Smosh. Benny portrayed by Atticus Mitchell from Radio Rebel, and Matthew Knight from Gooby.
He's about to meet the most ferocious monster of all.
Gooby?
I always thought Disney just got the syndication rights for the show, but these two have both been in other Disney products. Matthew is almost exclusively in horror movies or witch movies. And you may ask, how many witch movies could possibly exist that he's in so many and it's its own genre, but the list does not lie. Oh no way, he was in Peep in the Big Wide World, that's my jam! They appear on bumpers for the show saying the name Disney Channel for the Disney Channel's Sizzlin' Summer 2011 event. That's more than Cartoon Network got from Total Drama, all they got was reused footage. Maybe Disney is more involved than I thought. All I do know is the opening credits say that this was written by Tom McGillis, creator and head writer of Total Drama. I am poking a very angry bear right now. The credits do say Teletoon, and the code opening involves a kid playing hockey. Yeah, this is Canada for sure. Smosh gets to school on time after letting Ethan's little sister sneak out to witness a murder, and we get introduced to some characters. It's here we meet Jesse, the most obvious vampire if there could ever be one. And speaking of misremembering things, I started watching the series before eventually circling back to watch the movie after, so this isn't how I was introduced to these characters. But I do remember Jesse. I just remembered him being cooler. Like, I remember him being edgy with like a leather jacket and a deep voice. How did I not know as a kid?
Hey, Principal Hicks, let me give you a hand. Oh, thank you, Jesse.
And he is none of those things. The vampires are all in Drama Club, which is funny in its own right. The series heavily features a Twilight parody in the center of its plot, but I wouldn't really call this show a vampire parody. They play it pretty earnestly. They even keep the thing where you have to invite a vampire in. That's my favorite gimmick. And then we meet Rory, the third nerd in the crew, who Ethan seems to dislike more than Benny. Or maybe it's not that. I just think he's embarrassed. As a kid, I definitely remember identifying with Ethan a lot, constantly wanting to be cool and like, hey guys, we gotta play everything down, don't be cringe. But now as an adult, he seems to be having the least amount of fun. He's the only one not having fun. Like, Benny is also a nerd, but he exudes confidence and honestly spits some pretty good game. He kisses more people in this movie than most of the characters in the entire series. One. But still, that's more than nothing. It really goes to show that you don't need to try hard to be happy. I may be cringe, but I am free. Regardless, Ethan manages to embarrass himself anyway by spilling his lunch on a hot girl with, honestly, not that much food. Like, you're overreacting. No, run it back. We gotta do the take again. You really gotta spill that shit on her. I just want to specify that saying she's a hot girl is strictly what Smosh calls her. I liked her as a kid, but I've moved on. I like nobody now.
Do you think you're the only one who's allowed to break the rules?
No, but you're a good girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I totally get why now. I've never seen any Star Trek or He-Man, but I know a decent amount of both because they're constantly parodied on Family Guy and Robot Chicken. That being said, this is Buffy, right? Like, they're just doing a whole Buffy thing. I didn't notice it as a kid because I didn't know what Buffy was, but this is... They're doing Buffy. A bunch of teenagers who are kind of losers make a group in high school where they fight a bunch of monsters on the regular. The strong one of the group is a cool, tough, badass lady who wears a leather jacket who makes the nerd's brain click and they want to be stepped on by her. Again, not me, but you know. Some people. And it gets more and more like Buffy later, mostly with Erica, but for right now, Erica is a nerdy girl who is super obsessed with Twilight, or Dusk, or whatever they called it. A lot of the time in teen shows, not on the Disney Channel, they like to have the parents hate each other despite still being together, so it's a nice change of pace that these two go on dates nearly every night, and that's why they need a babysitter. Also explains why they constantly miss the paranormal stuff happening. Either this is really weird, or I'm really weird, because there are two outcomes. Either I release this and everyone agrees, like, yeah, they go on dates too many times. Or I'm going to release this and everyone's going to be like, what do you my parents went on dates all the time. I think I'm the weird one.
I said I could choose, Jesse. You said it was up to me.
It is, but hey, some decisions need a little push.
Some decisions... Okay, this dude sucks. I didn't mean it like that.
Can't you feel it? Your body knows what it wants.
Ooh, lame. And creepy. I didn't grasp this at the time, I just fully took it at surface level. Oh, he wants to drink blood. I always sound like an old person, but vampires nowadays are just like, I want blood, I am hot. But in other stories, they have always been like an allegory for sexual promiscuity or losing your innocence. You become bitten and then lose your innocence, and now you're out on the town biting random people, and you become a demon. And people who bite each other outside of wedlock are just demons, and they're gonna eat your children. The Christians really know how to stop people from having fun. But as the medium evolved, so did the meaning of vampires. Now they're just really old guys who hang out around high school to date high schoolers because they think it's hot. In Twilight, vampires is an allegory for sex until they actually just have literal sex. like Buffy. Most stories know that it's very creepy, so they try and avoid showing the creepy aspects of dude who doesn't belong in high school goes to high school to date young girls, except for Buffy, where they show Angel stalking a 14-year-old Buffy, and people still to this day are like, that's endgame ship. What is wrong with you? If you're a big fan of this and you've never seen Buffy and you're really fed up with me comparing it to Buffy, you should probably just stop watching now, because it's gonna happen a lot. Sarah, the girl they called hot from before, has been bitten. But every vampire universe has its own rules. Once you're bitten, you become a fledgling. A fledgling has about a month to drink blood to become a vampire, and if they don't, they will die. So not only do you need to get bitten, but then you also need to bite to fulfill that you have been corrupted. The Christians did it again. Erica gets caught up in the allure of the theater kids and bails on her babysitting job to go to a party. A theater party. Oh no. Sarah gets launched in the air and randomly lands on Ethan's house. This will not be the last convenience with this house in this movie. Also, they call soda pop. This isn't relevant, but I'm enthralled by it. I'm like whatever the Canadian equivalent of a weeaboo is, like super obsessed with the culture even though I don't actually know anything about it, and I'm just annoying about it on the internet. Plus, I don't shower, and I have a funny little jar that I put stuff inside. Where are the subtitles? Ethan hears Sarah distressed in the bathroom, so he doesn't knock and just barges in.
Looking for something, or are you just an incredible perv?
Alright, how did you think this was gonna go? If you never watched the Disney Channel or you're a modern kid who didn't watch TV ever, I can't express how weird it is to hear the word perv on the Disney Channel. And it was on the Disney Channel. Normally, I try and watch the most HD version of anything if I'm going to review it. But for this, I found an actual, like, TV rip of the original airing of the movie, so I watched that. And they say it loud and clear on the Disney Channel. I think that's probably why I latched onto it so much as a kid, because I was still holding on to the Disney Channel and liking kiddie stuff, but I was maturing, quote-unquote, and I needed edgier stuff. And this was just the edge that really got into me, and it sucked me in. But yeah, he's definitely a real fucking pervert.
I just saw Sarah. She was in front of the mirror, but not in it.
What are you talking about? She's still definitely in her reflection is wonky, but, you know, she's there. The infamous Teletoon budget TM will continue to make more appearances. It's always fun in a high school adventure show where everyone gets something to do. No one hears the damsel in distress. We see the first appearance of Ethan's That's So Raven visions. I know this show wasn't made by Disney, but the animation and sound effect they use is almost exactly the same. They knew what they were doing. And later it's revealed that Benny's grandma studied magic, and she passes down her spell book to him. He becomes a magic guy. But for now, Benny's grandma is here to watch Ethan's sister while they stalk Sarah. They catch her eating a rat in an alleyway, and they freak out because they hate to see a girl boss winning. You're the ones that followed her. Can't a girl eat a rat in peace these days? They just don't get it. And there they are, frozen in fear. They just saw something heinous. They can't think of the words to say. If only there was a string of words to perfectly surmise this situation.
Ah! Help! My babysitter's a vampire!
Nah, that's not it. They all go back to the house, and the pizza they ordered prior shows up. So they do what every normal person does. Invite the pizza guy inside their house. I know because of the rules the movie set up, they have to invite that guy inside at some point, but who invites the pizza guy inside your house? Whenever I order DoorDash, I stand right by the door, and then as soon as they come, I just like hide under and pretend I'm not home until they leave the food and then bail. I don't want to talk to anyone, much less invite someone in my home. As far as the whole virginity allegory goes for vampires, I don't know where the they used to be invited inside fits in there. They're promiscuous, they'll corrupt you, they'll eat your babies, they lack a holy soul, they're very polite. So then of course the guy attacks them and they run upstairs.
I'm calling Mom and Dad.
No, don't. Just, you have to trust me on this one.
You make my bed for a whole week.
This is a terrible deal. You have so much more leverage on it. 1 week? Okay, so 7 times? Make him give you money. Then they kill the pizza guy. He's dead. I'm just gonna hold up the sign now. Every time I need to talk about it, don't make me tap the sign. In Buffy, the way they explain vampires is it is a demon who inhabits a body where the soul is missing, combined with an evil version of that person who inhabited the body. But later, rorriM still acts exactly like himself despite becoming a vampire. Spoilers, by the way, but you know, it's all in the same video. rorriM needed something to do. So there could be friendly vampires that still feel exactly the same thing. So this pizza guy was a guy, but now he's dead.
The pizza guy, he's dead, right?
That dead. No, just in some kind of limbo for souls.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's in limbo. You stabbed him.
Oh, and Benny, your Dusker baby's here. And she is looking fine.
I think Rory's my favorite. Sarah heads to the vampire party to rescue Erica, and then Smosh joins her to rescue Rory. Neither of the blonde nerds are aware of the danger they're in.
Don't worry, party pooper. It's not like I'm going to give in to peer pressure. Besides, nobody here's even drinking.
And you're not suspicious of that at all? Maybe they're drinking slushies instead, am I right? I made a Heather's video once. Smosh attempts to sneak in, and when confronted, their excuse is that they went to pee. Together. Then they decide they might as well party while they're here, so they dance. Only with each other. So does this show have like a dedicated shipping community? Because I think I found my favorite ship. Unfortunately, our heroes are too late. To follow in the least subtle allegory ever, Rory thinks his bite is a hickey, and Erica looks like she just got her shit rocked.
Ah. Don't they look delicious?
There's a fine line between hot creepy and creepy creepy. This dude makes me uncomfortable. And then to finish her transformation, Erica bites Rory, and they both collapse on the ground and give each other a longing look. He was her first. So like, does this show have a dedicated shipping community? Because I think I found my favorite ship. Fresh TV just loves referencing Star Wars. I mean, there's just a character in 16 that dresses just like Darth Vader. I should talk about 16 someday. So Smosh grabs light tubes from Benny's grandma's old tanning bed to fight off the vampires, because technically they have the power of the sun in the palm of your hand. This series takes a lot of ideas from other vampire media, but I haven't seen anything before that did this, and it's honestly really cool. Or maybe I just really like Star Wars. And wrestling.
Force is strong in you, young Padawan. You're the Padawan, I'm the Jedi. Yeah, right.
Is this making sense to anyone else?
Poor Dad. It's already gone up. It's just like our honeymoon. Oh, it's a long story.
Does this show have a dedicated shipping community? Because I think when they show up for school the next day, Rory is completely dripped out. He killed someone and now he has no weakness. His asthma went away, he doesn't need glasses anymore, and the sun doesn't do anything. One thing they do change for the series is that whenever vampires are in the sun, they have to wear sunglasses, but their skin is still exposed. Like, they're completely fine in the sun as long as they have cool shades. They also lay into Rory after he killed somebody when they did the exact same thing. He was a demon, but you still killed a pizza guy. Another thing that isn't necessarily inappropriate, but you don't really see referenced in kids' media, is church. Like, you get Christmas specials from time to time, but no cartoon for kids ever talks about Jesus. I'm not complaining. I think this is probably a good thing. I just noticed it. So when I saw this for the first time and they mentioned church, it blew my mind. I was like, oh, you can do that? But they do also desecrate it and steal a bunch of holy water. This is awesome. Unlike other things unsuited for children, this has always been the case in America. They had to get rid of Link's cross and Bible from the original Legend of Zelda. In retrospect, Link is a very devout Christian. I don't know what to do with that information. They steal the water and get some exposition about the Cubulae Animus. See, did I remember it or what? Ethan's mom offers this teenager milk and cookies like she's fucking Santa Claus. She did fall off the roof.
Hey, yo! What's that? Oh!
You killed him.
Ethan finds out the only way to see his visions is if he's touching someone it's related to, except he touches Sarah and a bunch of the visions he sees are not something she's ever interacted with. Oh, how very convenient. Oh yeah, you gotta touch me, it'll save the world. We got to see dripped out Rory, and now we get to see hot Erica. Erica's transformation is far bigger than Rory's. Every time the nerd becomes hot girl trope comes around, it's always a girl who has her hair up and glasses, and when she's hot, she has her hair down and no glasses. Completely unrelated, that's also the transformation I had after high school. Like, it didn't change her bone structure or acne or anything. She was already hot. At least Rory dressed like a loser. Like I said, I watched most of the series before the movie, so for me, Erica was always the hot, popular one. So maybe that's why I didn't buy the nerddom. When Rory transforms, he still keeps his nerdy interest. I guess Erica isn't a Tumblr girl anymore. But she is a high schooler making out with a 200-year-old pastor. We learned that about Jesse earlier. I just didn't think it was important until right now, when it's super fucking weird. Like, if you're gonna do a Twilight parody, then deconstruct the genre. I never understood the trope of vampires in a school. If I became immortal and could live forever, the list of things I had to do, go back to high school, do high school again, would not be anywhere near that fucking list. There are a couple scenes from the movie I do fondly remember, and this little training montage is one of them. The grandma gives them knives and helps everyone use their powers.
Are you a witch?
Oh, goodness, no, not a witch, honey. I'm an earth priestess.
very different.
Oh god, look out guys, she's gonna ask you what month you were born in and then judge you because of her crystals. What does that mean? And the other scene I remember, the movie theater. I don't know why this one stuck out of my brain so much, but it's still a lot of fun. The vampires plan to fill the Twilight early screening with 219 people to steal their souls and use them to revive Jesse's dead tribe from back in the day. And it's all girls. Not one guy came to this with his girlfriend. There's no gays here to see Robert Pattinson. Shit hits the fan and then they start sucking souls.
Stomping on and sucking their souls. Stomping on and souls.
So Ethan yells out fire to clear the room and then does the sickest spin move I've ever seen. He exudes raw power. But Benny's the one pulling major gash. It doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound like something I would say. Benny won't let cringe hold him down. Meanwhile, Ethan kills a guy and seems pretty psyched about it. Oh, Rory, you can't eat people. It's wrong. Yeah, die, fucker! You think that gash line was bad earlier? Imagine the angry white boy loose in a movie theater joke I made that I had to cut out. Now we get to the climax of the film. They only say they have 8 minutes left before the eclipse comes. That's when Jesse can use the souls. When there's exactly 8 minutes left in the movie. I thought it was cool. Remember earlier when I mentioned that it was super convenient that Sarah landed on Ethan's house? The burial place of all of Jesse's friends is in Ethan's backyard. Originally, I thought it was just a place he remembered, but his sister and Benny's grandma are inside, so it's his house. The climax is in his backyard. All right, Jesse, now's your time to say something really cool.
The hour of rebirth has come. Brothers, sisters, arise!
Chicken, arise. Arise, chicken. Arise.
They do an earth spell on him or something, and then open the box and set the souls free. They attack him and he turns into black smoke. None of this was built up at all. Like, they didn't spring a trap or even have a plan. Benny's grandma just comes to save the day. What would you have done if the burial place was any place other than your backyard? Doesn't matter. Time to go back to school. I'm sure theater twink won't ever be a problem ever again. Sarah drops a line about Benny's grandma making a good human blood substitute. Alright? If you didn't want her to die, and you're struggling to write around that she doesn't want to drink blood, but also you wrote the thing that she has to die, you could just not write that part. I would simply cut it out. You didn't have to make a ticking clock. It's your show. As we wrap up, Erica and Rory are seen hanging out together. It makes me happy. And congrats, we went this whole movie without any actual Smosh quotes from the Smosh crew.
Shut up!
Ah, there it is. The movie stands on its own fine enough, but watching it, you definitely get the feeling that it was always meant to be a sitcom. I guess all TV movies about vampires and babysitters feel like that. It's a tried and true formula. A bunch of high school kids get together, form a group, and they live in a paranormal town where they have to fight a different monster every week. Except this aired daily. And I think a big contributing factor as to why a lot of people don't remember this show is because, unlike Wizards of Waverly Place or like Sweet Life on Deck, they aired this all at once and then dipped. They just dropped and was like, all right, here's the show, bye. Season 1 in America aired every weekday 4 weeks in a row and then had very scarce reruns. So if you were busy that summer but wanted to watch the show, that sucks to be you. The first episode of the series kind of gives off either possibilities. They reference the movie and how everything just got normal, and Benny is already super good at magic, and Sarah has a really short temper with Smosh. She scolds them like they do this kind of shenanigans all the time, but this is the first episode, and the first time they've done something dumb. The show, like most paranormal shows, follows the formula of teenagers try and mess with something spooky for a selfish reason, and then it goes terribly wrong. But they didn't do any of that yet. They just saved the world, Sarah. I guess Ethan isn't the only one that could see into the future. It's been over a decade since I watched this last, and seeing the clips they chose for the theme song brings back so many memories. Like, I remember so many of these moments. This episode, not so much. Benny, the player that he is, wants to pick up this blonde girl, so he goes over to her and she immediately breaks down because of the recent death of her beloved dog. Benny sees a perfect opportunity to get her to like him by reviving her previously dead dog, and it's treated like it's a normal thing. Okay, it's not treated like it's the right thing to do, but at no point do they bring up how horrifying this is. Sarah asks Ethan for some money, but bum-ass doesn't have any. She needs the money because she wants to go on a trip with Erica, and this is the Erica I know. She's way more believable as the popular kid than the nerd. I never bought she was an actual nerd, but this Erica, this feels right. The other one is what I imagine the Uncanny Valley feels like. Like, I know it's her, but something feels wrong. But again, this is probably just because I watched the show first. Sarah needs the money because we find out in this episode that vampires can fly and fledglings can't. You're gonna want to remember all this lore so you can tell your classmates later. No one better bum me for notes, I'm the only one doing the work. We see this executed as Rory flies in. Without sunglasses. Sarah and Erica were wearing sunglasses at the exact same time of day. That was like the one rule you made. It's episode 1 and they already dropped the needing sunglasses thing, and honestly, I don't blame them.
Come on, E. Help reunite a fair maiden with her beloved pet. One touch? Okay. Yes.
Does the show have a dedicated shipping community? Because I was a little confused before. I'm super confused now. Benny bikes away from Ethan, and then Rory swoops down and grabs Ethan. And we know it's daytime because the Sarah and Erica scene just happened. And then Benny is in the girl's backyard to dig up the dead dog corpse, and then Rory drops Ethan right next to him. Okay, so there's 3 options here. 1, Rory and Ethan followed behind Benny in the air all day, even though Ethan could have stopped him on foot if he wanted to. 2, Rory and Ethan have been flying around together all day. Does the show have a dedicated shipping community? Because option 3, the previous scene was supposed to be set at night, but the color correction was just wrong. That would explain both of these, but it also makes significantly less sense that they could have fucked that up.
Promise me this is the last time you raise anything from the grave. Look, it's taken. I swear. On my Jedi honor.
For all those keeping track, the Star Wars reference counter is now at 2. Anyway, Benny digs up this girl's dead dog and then brings it to school in a box, and of course it doesn't go well. First of all, if my pet died and then someone came to school and is like, oh, I brought your pet back, and just had a pet that looked exactly like mine, I would just think, oh, you got a pet that looks just like mine. Most dog breeds just look the same. And it's not like it went missing or something, so she could have assumed it came back. They buried it in their backyard.
What are you doing?
I feel like this behavior is pretty normal for a dog, unless your "what are you doing" means "why are you making your eyes red," which is a valid question. This is gonna sound like an insult, but I promise it isn't, because it's not their fault, and I find it a lot more charming. This show has a very low budget. This seems to be a common theme with Canadian kid shows, but whenever something is horror, it kind of gets a pass. Whenever there's a horror piece with a really low budget, I think it adds to the charm. At least it does for me. I mean, some of the greatest horror films of all time were made on a shoestring budget. This episode involves a lot of animals attacking people, so it uses a lot of stuffed animals and rubber toys. Don't mistake this for a criticism. I absolutely love this. Like, I'm not even doing a bit. It made me smile ear to ear. It exudes so much charm. So stuffed animals all over town start attacking people, and the Smosh Gang needs to find a way to stop it.
Reports are coming in of bizarre small animal attacks.
This show is awesome. So then, of course, they go to Benny's grandma to try and get a solution related to undead animals.
How are we gonna track down all the undead critters?
Right. Here. Once the demons hear this enchanted flute, they'll come running.
Ah, of course. The movie had the cool pencil nerd darts and sunlight tubes. A flute is fun, too. And in a series of events that could only happen in a sitcom, Ethan's dad needs to impress his boss with an important presentation, so he has the family over for dinner. But uh-oh, it turns out the dad's boss daughter is the dead dog girl. Also, Sarah is there to do catering for money. She needed to get there somehow. And of course they have Rory do the flute part because he's the best part of the show.
I landed on the roof to look for you guys, and then there was this psycho squirrel, and I kind of dropped it down the chimney.
What? Chimney?
Hey, relax. I know a way to get it back. When Santa comes...
Rory, shut up!
Best part of the show. Evil raccoons fill the kitchen because of the flute noise coming from the chimney. And I was pretty shocked that they got real raccoons, and then I realized they're aiming at nothing, so those raccoons are definitely not actually there. Smosh Gang uses holy water to defeat the animals, because technically they are also undead creatures inhabited by demons, but at least these ones they don't have to kill and actually hurt. Oh my god! Jesus Christ! I know it's a stuffed dog, but did you have to break its neck?
Oh, what is that you? Puffles?
What the fuck? This girl is not going to ever recover. When she first heard Puffles, the dog, her dad makes a she's crazy gesture. She's not gonna get the help she needs. Rory eats a rat, by the way. For those keeping track, our rat eating counter is at 2. 1.5. I don't think Sarah finished the rat, actually.
Come on in, Rory.
How did it knock at the door?
Take the shot! He's evil! Get him!
Take Take the shot! He's right in our sights! Blow that fucker away!
I can't.
This whole episode is so fucked.
Have you talked to Della? Our courtship is on hold. At least until she gets out of counseling.
We never see this girl again. The episode ends with a nice little joke about Rory sneaking into Sarah's new car, so she doesn't have to get thrown through the woods again. They never resolve her money issue, by the way. Maybe it was the catering, I don't know. And she's equally shocked as everyone else that Rory is in the car, which raises an important question. What constitutes as a home? Like, vampires can go into any school or movie theater they want, but they need to be invited into homes. But does that just mean houses? What if someone lives in an apartment or tent? What if Sarah lived in her car? Would he be able to sneak in then? This is only episode 1. There's so much more ground to cover. We gotta move on. No more questions. Okay, one more question. Where did the sister go? Ethan has a little sister who appears in the movie, and I think some later episodes, and she isn't mentioned in this one, which in any other episodes would not matter, but the only reason the fight happens at the house is because Ethan has to be there, because, quote, the whole family has to be there. So where did she go? Did they forget she existed? Is this a reverse Buffy situation? I gotta hold up the sign more. When does this even take place? Because they talk about the movie like it just happened, but Ethan's door is fixed. I didn't mention this, but they blow a huge hole in Ethan's door fighting the pizza guy.
Were you and Benny playing lightsabers again?
I play in video games.
Yeah, that and the rap music.
I guess the only hole that really got blown open was this show's writing. I love the show. I want to watch more. Moving on. I love the trope of there's a specific small town where things are creepy and stuff goes wrong. Twin Peaks, Mystery Incorporated, a third thing we'll get into. I just think it's funny that their school team is the Devils. Like, I don't know, that's cute. The episode is all about the classic high school trope, cheerleaders. And it gets weird.
Isn't this kind of like letting Magneto join the X-Men?
I'll assume that's geek speak for a fox in the henhouse thing.
But Magneto did join the X-Men. Several times. That's like a recurring theme in the comics. What kind of nerd are you? And I'll have you know he's a Holocaust survivor, Sarah. Show some respect. There's something spooky going on in the cheerleading squad, so the only way to get more intel is for Sarah to join the squad. Like the entire episode concept, it's lifted.
Cowabunga!
What? But this episode adds its own little twist to separate it from Buffy. After the boys decide they need to help, they get hit in the balls so hard they're writhing in pain. They decide there's only one way to help out. Non-intellectuals, just in case you didn't understand the subtle nuance of this hilarious bit. The joke is that these guys are dressed like girls. I never said the show was perfect.
This is the worst idea yet. This underwear riding up my butt.
No one said you had to wear the panties. That wasn't part of the plan.
I wanted to date a girl in high school, not be one.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Rory is just walking around the school and openly sipping blood out of a tube, and he stumbled across the girls. He immediately falls head over heels for Betty. That's what Benny's calling himself. And Ethan calls himself Veronica, which is a nice little Archie reference that no one seemed to pick up on. Looks like My Babysitter's a Vampire did spooky high school even before Riverdale. Still? Really? So Rory falls for Betty, and it's honestly his punishment for being creepy. Cool. No one's happy. Most of the time, the joke in these situations is how embarrassing it must be that these guys are dressed like girls, but as the practice goes on, Ethan seems to really be enjoying himself. Maybe the show is gonna take a wild turn. Hey, remember that one season of Wizards of Waverly Place where Max is replaced with a girl who they'd call Maxine, and no one ever really talks about it? I should cover that show someday. I'm not gonna call them Betty and Veronica every time. What's the female equivalent of Smosh? So Dan and Phil try and go into the girls' shower to gather intel, but are then confronted by an angry Sarah who could easily see through their disguises. I can always tell. Did I mention that this episode is weird? All the girls continue to wear their cheer uniforms throughout the school day. Like, I know dudes wearing their Letterman jacket in school was a thing, but do people actually wear their cheer uniform? Oh yeah, Roy becomes the little devil mascot because he's such a little devil to get closer to Betty.
We're forces of nature. That's what makes a star. We may look like girls, but that's not all we are.
Meta.
Forces of nature. That's what makes a star. You know, something about that, just makes me feel all tingly inside. It's great.
Sure it's our new cheers and not your new boyfriend?
Well, hello there, my Beelzebub.
Erica goes to confront the head cheerleader that bullied her when she was a nerd, but now she's a vampire, so she could just kill her. Except you aren't killing anyone. All you're doing is making her a vampire. Do you really want to live forever with her? Put a pin in that, because it may be important later. It doesn't matter, because her attempt fails anyway. Head cheerleader shows off her full power in a crowded hallway in the middle of the school day, and Sarah is the only one who sees it. Smosh looks up the incantation they've been saying, and immediately assumes the cheerleader is a witch, which seems like a big leap to me. That wasn't a pun, I didn't mean that. Hey look, it's the little sister! Where have you been? She does exist. They do exist. I hope you guys are ready, because as soon as the night ends and it stops being Halloween, I'm immediately getting ready for Christmas, so be prepared. All the girls come over to Ethan's house at Sarah's request because she's brainwashed and doesn't have a house? We haven't seen Sarah's family at all, so as far as I'm concerned, she just doesn't have a house. She's homeless. She's very brainwashed, but still acknowledges that Betty and Veronica are Benny and Ethan. Whatever, it's not important. Then to follow even more high school tropes, they start a pillow fight, and Dan and Phil join in. Not to show my arrowness, my aceness, my arrow ace, whatever. Do people actually find pillow fights attractive? I don't get the appeal. You're just hitting people and getting hit. I understand why it's fun. Getting hit is fun. But hot? Also, I've never once been involved in a pillow fight that made this huge of a mess, but in movies it always does. I guess I'm just not pillow fighting hard enough. I really gotta grind for the next tournament. I don't even know if I'll be able to show you what's going on, but they're describing an evil witch's demonic curse. Benny says star, but the subtitles say pentagram. And I think this is because Netflix goes off of scripts and not actually what's being said. Like, it is a pentagram, that's clearly what that is, but that's not what he says. What the fuck is Grandma doing here? How did you even get in here? You don't live here.
Protection wands for the big rally today. You think I didn't hear those cheerleaders last night?
How could you have possibly heard that? You don't live here. Hey, Ethan, I think Benny's grandma might be living in your walls. Grandma reveals to Smosh that the head cheerleader is actually immortal and went to school with her. And again, if I was immortal, I would not spend all of my time in high school. The implication is that she went to high school for decades, which sounds like torture to me. Just let her go to hell or die. This is so much worse. The climax of the episode is set in the saddest pep rally I've ever seen. This is the entire student body. There's 20 people. What a sad school. The head cheerleader, Raiders of the Lost Ark's the student body, and it's up to Dan and Phil to stop her. Except they can't.
Stephanie's a witch. She's sucking the souls out of the whole student body.
I'm gonna let that one slide. They free Sarah from her cheerleader curse, and she just brute force beats the shit out of the head cheerleader. Why use magic and logic and a plan when you could just punch something really hard? You're at school too, Grandma? Are you following us, or do you also sleep here? In a show full of fantasy violence and cartoon shenanigans, the head cheerleader screams like a psychopath and pulls a knife on the party.
I remember how mean folks were to you back then. What I forgot was just how much you deserved it.
No, she's definitely right. She deserved to get bullied. I'm not even doing a bit to be edgy. Anyone who stays in high school forever and pulls a knife on people deserves ridicule. But at least they let her stay in school because now she's the lunch lady. They say that she's no threat because Grandma took her magic, but she can still stab someone. She should go to jail. In a nice little ending before going away forever, Benny, as Betty, writes a love note to Rory saying that she loves him too, but will never return because she moved away and also probably died. Which, you know what? That's actually pretty nice. Benny could have easily dropped this, but instead he decided to make his good friend Rory feel good. Rory wins again! Everything's coming up Rory! Well, out of the 2 episodes we covered so far, one of them I remembered and one of them was good. Hopefully we'll get to a good episode I remember. You would think I would remember an episode this crazy too, but I didn't. The spooky situation this week, or day, I guess, is that this sad school has only ever won 1 trophy. It makes the sad pep rally from earlier make way more sense. As the trophy is getting removed, Ethan touches it and his magic seer powers free the ghost of the coach who won the trophy, except no one else can see him. So Ethan is being tormented by a meathead nerd bullying coach that no one else can see. You would think that in a show like this, that this would be a classic sitcom misunderstanding where Ethan can't prove the ghost is causing mayhem, but the gang believes him almost immediately. I mean, it makes more sense this way. They've already fought a witch, vampires, and zombie pets. Why would a ghost be too far-fetched? Ghost coach pantses Ethan and everyone laughs, including Sarah, which is uncomfortable.
Says he was the gym teacher 30 years ago.
He's ancient.
30 years does not seem like enough. He looks 20 here, so he was like in his 50s? How did he die? You get hit by a car? There's a newspaper later that says he went missing, and we never get any more details. So I'm just gonna assume he fell in Niagara Falls. See, I know Canada. Normally, ghosts just knock stuff over or move furniture a little bit, but this ghost fully shoved Ethan in this locker.
My curse is 10 times stronger than any little weenie magic show. May as well just give up now.
What is your deal? Is this all about that dumb trophy?
That trophy is not dumb.
Wait a minute. No, I know that voice. I thought I could avoid it for just a little bit longer, but it found me again. It follows me everywhere. So, yeah. The coach here is the same voice actor of Chef Hatchet from the show Total Drama, a character I know nothing about, so stop asking me about it, okay? Ethan brings the problem to Sarah, and yet again, she does not care. She says she can't punch it, so how can she even help, continuing the moral that sometimes punching things really hard is the way to solve problems. Ethan shows the coach the internet for the first time, and he is completely gobsmacked. He went missing 30 years ago. In the 80s.
It can take you anywhere in the world to find any information you want.
We had something like that back in my day. They called it shoes.
Back in your day, the internet existed. I guess it seems way more crazy to me because I'm watching it today, and 30 years ago today was the 90s, which is crazy.
So you want to play hardball, huh, boy?
This is hardball? He's moving some boxes? You shoved a human boy fully in a locker earlier. The coach shows Ethan his future to scare him into winning the trophy for him.
Dad works at McFingers too?
Yep. Ever since he got fired for insurance fraud.
Only 10 years in the future and Benny is in a wheelchair.
You put Benny in a wheelchair?
Me? Nah. He's the one about that turbo unicycle.
Most of this vision is completely fake, but I feel like this is still bound to happen. Unless, of course, in the next 10 years, something else terrible happens to him.
Hey, Mr. G?
Of course, there's always a Mr. G. I didn't mention him before, but it turns out that this character has head-on collided with the plot. This strong man is the guy Ethan must wrestle to win a trophy, who he chose because he saw Sarah flirting with him, and this is such a nothing hill to die on, and it's not important. He looks realistically strong. This is what actual strong people look like. That kind of... That's a strong body. But they keep mentioning his abs, and when Benny draws him, he draws him ripped. He's not. He's strong, but he doesn't look like that. Why am I saying all this? Who cares? Ethan goes through a training montage that goes horribly as he gets nailed in the balls and yells out in pain. Awesome. Nobody at this tiny school cheers for Ethan, but that doesn't get Rory's energy down. Have I mentioned that I love Rory?
Your catchphrase! Do it! Prepare to be Ethanized.
You're not gonna like these apples.
Even his catchphrase is better.
No, it's not. That catchphrase sucked. He's just gonna carry apples everywhere he goes just so he can drop that line. It's a very situational line.
Maybe you need a little heart.
What are you trying to accomplish, exactly? You don't want him to win a trophy anymore? Was this all just a cruel joke you orchestrated? Anyway, Ethan wins by tickling Strongman's neck, and it looks like he's strangling him. I've seen a lot of wrestling episodes of TV shows in my day, but this probably gets it the most wrong. Maybe not as much as regular show, but that's a story for another day. Again, the subtitles don't match. I don't even know what the coach says, but it isn't Locker of the Damned. I was about to comment on how weird it is that they got away with saying that, but I'm not even sure what he said. So Chef Hatchet gets pulled in a Davy Jones locker, and we never see him again. Ethan saved the day by outsmarting the villain, but this show won't stand for that. I guess Sarah saved the day by punching something really hard again. We get another end stinger of Erica turning this meathead into a vampire, but he never appears after this, so maybe she just killed him. And finally, after a couple episodes of on and off, will they, won't they, Sarah and Ethan go on a movie date at his house with the boys. And it seems I've made a mistake. I hate to break it to everyone who would possibly want to watch the show after this video, but it's leaving Netflix September 30th, which is just crazy timing. I was originally just gonna watch the show on Netflix normally in the episode order they have because I assumed that's the episode order, but it turns out they weren't aired in that order. The 3 episodes that originally aired back to back on the Disney Channel were Lawn of the Dead, 3 Cheers for Evil, and The Blood Drive, and I definitely remember The Blood Drive. So the way it actually aired Friday Night Frights is not the 3rd episode, it's the 6th. If I want to revisit the show the exact way I watched it through as a kid, then I need to use the Disney order and not the Netflix order. So just pretend none of what I just talked about happens until later. I could just rewrite the video. In my defense, it doesn't even really matter because the show doesn't have a lot of continuity yet. This episode actually raises some interesting moral questions, but I don't think it answers any of them. It's also a Rory and Erica episode. Let's go!
These blood bags won't be the only things getting drained.
Whoa! The blood drive has come to Whitechapel High, and all the dudes are going crazy wanting to give blood because the nurses aren't dressed like nurses and are instead dressed like sexy Halloween costumes. Sarah is freaking out over the smell of blood because she refuses to drink the blood of an innocent human. Meanwhile, Erica joined the nurses for the sole purpose of stealing the donated blood and drinking it.
I need a gullible little monkey to steal it for me.
Oh, baby.
And she's bossing Roy around to help her with a scheme, among other things.
Great, that is fine. Do you have my laundry?
Hex yeah. Cleaned and pressed.
You love to see it, just a male wife and his girl boss. So the interesting moral question comes in on whether this is actually a positive solution or not. They bring up that she is stealing blood from people that may need it, but on the other hand, nobody's dying. I mean, could someone die from not having the proper blood in a blood transfusion? Technically. But could someone die from getting the shit beat out of them and eaten by a vampire? Who's to say? I think it's technically the lesser of two evils, but it's still evil. Whatever, the intelligent discussion doesn't matter. I saw the theme song. I know Sarah's just gonna end up punching the vampires really hard. Ethan says at the beginning of the episode that his mom always told him he had special blood, and I just assumed this was a seer thing. I mean, why else would he have the visions? Speaking of visions, the nurses are vampires. Who would have thought? And again, I know it's completely pointless to bully a show with a small budget, but when Ethan calls Benny, you can see there's just a picture of Benny on his phone, but because it's just a picture, you can see it rotate when Ethan moves. I'll let it slide. I don't think it makes the show bad, I just think it's really funny. Anyway, them being vampires would explain why they're dressed for an OnlyFans shoot and not a doctor's office. Aw man, Benny wanted to get his blood taken by the conventionally attractive blonde white girl, but instead he has to have his blood taken by the conventionally attractive blonde white girl who's a little bit older. Ew! Ethan goes to Sarah for help because they need someone to punch something really hard, but she's going through it right now. She's trying to eat a ton of junk food as replacement for her blood craving, and she bursts open a vending machine over it. Hey look, that Snickers bar just says chocolate.
Like opening day for Revenge of the Sith all over again. Just, you know, minus the stormtroopers.
Star Wars exists. Add it to the counter.
Well played, young Padawan.
Nerds is when Star Wars talk. 4.
If you can be anyone for one day, who would it be? Thor or the Hulk?
Thor is a Norse god. With a magic hammer, they can summon lightning from the heavens. The Hulk is a big, green doofus with purple short shorts.
Now that one still holds up. Like, still to this day, people talk like that, except they talk about Homelander and Goku. You could tell this episode aired earlier than it's listed because they haven't fully given up on the sunglasses thing yet. Doesn't make it any less pointless. Smosh has been tracking Rory to see what nefarious deeds him and Erica are up to until they forget to do exactly that.
What are you doing behind the school, Rory? That's what the security camera has to say.
So the gang goes to the blood truck Erica and Rory got trapped in. Oh yeah, Erica and Rory got trapped in the blood truck.
Have you ever noticed how in romantic comedies, the guy and girl start off fighting, then things change between them and they end up sucking face by the end credits?
Oh no, Roy's explaining the enemies to lovers trope. He lost her. She used to be a Twilight nerd. There's no way she hasn't read fanfiction. So the gang confronts the other vampires who are angry because they say the rules are you can't steal from other vampires. I don't know where these rules are coming from, but the fake nurses do name drop some kind of vampire council that probably won't be important at all later, and then they call them noobs.
It's not like these two noobs would put up much of a fight anyway.
Nice. It turns out Sarah can't punch her way out of this one because she's just a fledgling and isn't strong as actual vampires. But the leader of the friend group can smell Ethan's special blood that he alluded to before. Apparently his blood is more rare than that entire truck of blood, so they make a trade. I thought Ethan's blood was just human blood, but like magic, but the pint is a deep purple color, so he's just like a mutant, I think.
I am surrounded by vampire noobs.
Oh, okay, again, and then big reveal.
This isn't what it looks like.
Erica claims it was just to shut him up, but then they split off from the group to go talk alone. And originally I thought it was hinting that she had feelings for him, but upon rewatch, she just used this opportunity to steal all the blood from the truck. And no one learned anything. To be fair about the whole moral question, it's kind of okay for Erica to drink it because the blood already wasn't going to a good place and they can't just pull up to a hospital with a truck full of blood. Hey, we want to donate. They would have some questions. I think they did this so Erica could have a secret blood reserve and make her a more sympathetic character and not one who goes out to murder every night. But like we said, the coach episode aired after this one and she eats the wrestling guy. We never see him again. I think maybe that there's no correct order to watch this show, actually. Now we're getting into some spooky shit. This episode consists of a doll coming to life and sucking the life out of living things and turning people into dolls. That's like my #1 fear. It's nice we get an episode revolved around Ethan's sister, considering she was missing a few episodes ago and nobody mentioned it. Benny brings a video game over to play with Ethan as Sarah babysits his sister. I totally forgot about that aspect, but honestly the whole babysitting gimmick is the only thing that keeps it apart from other teen vampire shows. The game breaks and Ethan attempts to fix what looks like a computer, but then the boys pick up controllers. So, did Ethan fix an actual game console? Are they using controllers for PC game? Or did the prop masters not understand what video games are? Alright, never mind. I answered my own question. I don't know her name, so I would just refer to her as Ethan's sister, because that's like her whole thing. She overheard Benny saying that he could fix the video game with magic, and at the same time she has a broken doll that needs fixing. So she steals the spell book and gives consciousness to something that did not ask to be born.
We need to turn her back into a doll.
No, I don't want to go back.
I know she's evil and like sucks the life out of people and all, but how would you react to this? Hey, new being that just got born, we're gonna turn you back into an animate object where you have no free will. Can you not do that? No, sorry. But you know, not really. She seems harmless, and then Ethan gets a vision of fruit rotting and puts together that of course means she's gonna suck the life out of every living thing. That's kind of a huge leap. What is with this vague-ass vision? Does seeing the future work in riddles now? They need to keep her trapped somewhere because she can't be trusted, so Ethan traps her in his room with all his stuff, including his computer. Great job, Ethan. Of course she escapes because Rory shows up and instantly falls for her.
Wow. You're much hotter than Ethan.
Oh, so now you acknowledge Ethan's attractiveness? Where was this energy for Veronica? Ethan's parents come home and are instantly turned into dolls. They never had a chance to run. They're just innocent bystanders. Of course, Rory takes her to school to show off, and she does the same thing to the principal. But considering he's a high school principal, he definitely deserved it. There are no innocent principals out there.
As in she's made of plastic.
Yeah, all the hottest girls are.
This is fucked up. It's not like a tragic story where Rory genuinely falls in love with her and doesn't want to see her go. He just thinks she's hot. And then when she becomes slightly less hot by getting a badass scar, he immediately bails. What a coward. He just up and leaves the episode. He was like a focal point and then doesn't return. What does Rory do in his free time? We do get some material out of this excursion though. Sarah approaches Erica, who is putting on sunscreen because the sun is just a minor annoyance to these vampires. And she asks her to separate Rory from the doll. So she goes to put the moves on Rory.
Since we share the same taste in food, I might let you take me to dinner.
Nah, I don't think so.
Great. So just ditch the third wheel here and... Wait, what?
You had your chance with this, babe. The Roarster's found his soulmate.
All right, some growth. Good for Rory. It's a shame it was all for nothing. Well, not for nothing. It does make Erica reevaluate her feelings for Rory, and she is newly jealous of this plastic horror. I speed through words a lot and they kind of blend together. I need to emphasize I said horror and not horror. But man, whenever preteen me saw these two interact, I couldn't understand why, but I knew I needed to see them together. Why must the show be about the less interesting characters? Anyway, Sarah tries to punch her because it's worked 90% of the time so far, and the doll gets Stranger Things pretzeled at the bottom of the stairs. Of course, because she's the most terrifying thing we've confronted so far, she snaps back into place and puts her removed head back on.
Jane. I want to play with you.
This is a nightmare. And of course, she turns Sarah into a doll. I guess she didn't punch her hard enough. Everyone's plans are yielding no positive results. So, Ethan's plan...
Dazzled in. What are you doing here?
Come a doll with me again, Debbie.
Ethan's sister recites the spell to save the day on the condition that they all have to have a dance party. The parents wake up and conveniently don't remember anything. for some reason. Sarah remembers exactly what happened, and they just forgot the principal turned into a doll too, but honestly, he probably had it coming. And the episode wraps up on a nice note with Smosh, the little sister, Sarah, and even Erica having a cute dance party together. All the characters are having fun together, except for Rory, who left the episode in the middle and never came back. We get a hint that maybe the doll is still sentient. I'm sure if she ever comes back, Rory will forget everything and start the process anew. He learned nothing. We're definitely getting into the spookier episode concepts. I mean, out of everything they've fought so far, I wonder what fresh horror awaits us in the next episode. For whatever reason, this episode was originally titled Double Negative, but on Netflix it's listed as Jilly Putty, which is the far worse name. Without spoiling the whole episode, today's monster is an evil camera that makes evil doubles of people. It's an old camera, so the pictures turn out as negatives, thus the name Double Negative. I don't know what a Jilly even is, but it's not relevant to this episode. I have no clue why they changed it to a significantly worse title. We're having fun here, at least I am. We can all laugh along with the silliness of the show, and I can poke jokes at it from time to time, but I still love it. This episode is infuriating. All of the characters are insufferably uncaring and uncharacteristically stupid in this one. And for no reason. Picture day is coming up at Whitechapel High, and Smosh has a new innovative idea for the pictures.
We think we should be able to use our avatars as our yearbook photos. Why look like yourself when you could look like a level 25 Storm Ranger?
I feel that who I am on the inside is better represented by Thor Engelhart.
Oh fuck, they just invented NFTs. These aren't the fun kind of nerds anymore. Rory appears after his last disappearance for his one scene in this episode where he says he wanted his avatar to be a me. It's cute. And then he disappears again. It's disappointing because I wanted to see more Rory, but the upside is that he doesn't get damaged by this weird episode. I guess they can only have so many characters per episode because Erica has her own little thing going on where she wants to look really good for her picture. Her thinking is that this is the first year she's actually hot, but then Sarah reminds her that vampires don't show up in pictures even though she was just kind of blurry in the mirror. It's also a nice little detail that this modern teen vampire show still keeps the old-timey rules. I think this idea comes from the fact that people used to believe if your picture is taken by a camera, it steals your soul, and vampires don't have souls, I think. I don't know if this applies to these ones. This, however, is a very rare case where the camera is in fact stealing souls. Anyway, this plan is stupid. Erica knows she won't appear on film, but likes the idea of a picture, but the whole school is gonna know. You think they won't have any questions when you don't appear on camera? Evidently not, because head of the yearbook committee has her evil clone walking around school wrecking havoc at the same time she's walking about, so I guess they don't notice anything. That's where the annoyance comes in. Ethan is completely oblivious to the evil clone plot right in front of him.
Still staring at the back of the camera right now, wondering why the screen isn't working. She's standing right behind me now, isn't she?
Oh, she's right behind me, isn't she?
Why would I want to trust a little monkey boy like you?
This is the second episode one of the nerds has been described as a little monkey. Is this a common term? It seems unrelated.
All the awful things people said I did today. All the swearing, cutting off Kelly's hair, putting glue in Mrs. Murray's shoes.
One of those is not as bad as the others. You assaulted some people, ruined some people's days, and said fuck a couple times. Put her in jail. Maybe people would notice what's going on if you didn't leave every time you saw her. You don't think this is a good time to prove that it wasn't you? Why are you trying to cover this up? You didn't do anything. This is what I was referring to. It is increasingly cartoonish that Ethan doesn't notice something's up. Like, this is not the first time something supernatural has happened. And then the Vision has to plainly spell out the plot for him again, and he still doesn't get it. But Smosh decides it's not important and they drop it because she's a girl. What? Maybe I'm giving too much credit to the Canadian teen show that was made in the 2010s, but they aren't this misogynistic or dumb. Also, listen to this line.
What's the worst you can do? Make fun of someone's shoes on Facebook?
Again with the subtitles. The subtitle says Facebook, and I'm sure the script did too, but it sounds like they dubbed over gibberish after the fact because they weren't allowed to name drop Facebook. Probably because earlier in this episode, they stole Mark Zuckerberg's idea for the metaverse. Evil Benny is created, and you know he's evil because he has a toothpick and does cool things. I don't know. I've been out of high school a long time. Is riding a go-kart to school cool? I mean, I think it's cool, and Ethan finds out about all of this after Evil Benny lays it out right in front of him because his vision told him. Did you get replaced with a clone? I swear you used to be smarter than this.
Did you take a photo of yourself with my camera?
Yeah, but just of my butt.
No, it wasn't. Your butt was in frame for a full body picture. Okay, guys, drop everything. Forget about the episode. Forget what you're doing. I need you to see this creepy ass photography teacher.
So, you ready to make some memories?
How is this not the focal point?
We can't do that, but I sure do love your big picture thinking.
All right, the evil negatives are no longer the most imminent threat. Evil girl wants to take a group picture instead of a bunch of single ones, so she gathers everyone in the school in the auditorium, and by that I mean like 10 people.
She was in an awful hurry to get that class photo that she made developed.
Huh. Class photo?
Oh, yeah. She must have got 100 students in there.
You expect me to believe that? No, this school has like 25 people max. Erica is mad that she won't get her picture taken by herself when she won't show up anyway. This plot is so dumb. Erica gets so mad, in fact, that she goes into a dark room to beat up Hannah. Her name's Hannah, by the way. I just learned that. Without even knowing about the cloning. Like she was fully prepared to kill her over it. But before that happens, we get this little exchange.
Ethan, don't untie her. She's evil.
She's lying. I'm Hannah. Destroy the negatives, quick. They're in that case.
Ethan, I'm Hannah, and if you touch that case, I'll ruin you.
What do you... He just heard that you took everyone's picture. Why would he believe this? Oh yeah, I forgot. Ethan has brainworms this episode. Benny confronts evil Benny, and the bad boy drops a line about being actually dangerous because there are spells even Benny wouldn't dare do. And I realized that this is actually a pretty cool concept. And then Benny overpowers him, and Sarah decides to mix it up this time, so instead of punching the villain really hard, she kicks him really hard. Episode over. That was not fun at all. Can we move on, please? We already did this episode. I know we just covered it, but in the last episode, I originally thought the not evil version seemed strangely nice, so I thought the concept was that the camera separates the good and bad qualities. And then after, I thought, wow, this is just like that one episode of Rick and Morty. It's crazy that this episode came out before that show. But then I moved past it because I realized that's actually not what's happening in the episode. In this episode, Benny makes a love potion and it goes awry as every girl in school falls in love with Smosh and then wants to kill them. Now, I'm not saying this is not already a very derivative episode concept. It's been done before. What I'm saying is, Rick and Morty ripped off My Babysitter's a Vampire. We know that Ethan has a thing for Sarah because of how hard she punches things, but we haven't really seen him act on it yet. This is the episode where Ethan finally decides he's gonna go ask her out. Benny decides to help by, once again, role-playing as a girl. How many times before this becomes a pattern?
Be my man. Well, I'd really like to go on a date with you. You and I have this connection that's really special. I feel like there's some cosmic reason we were thrown together.
That's beautiful, Ethan.
Plus, you are, like, really pretty.
I have hockey tickets tonight. I thought maybe you and Benny would want to come along, so I'll just leave him here.
Well, I mean, he could have reacted worse. Last episode, evil Benny hinted that there were some morally questionable spells that Benny refused to touch, but I guess brainwashing women isn't on that list. Ethan has become insufferable at this point, and he doesn't do much to stop the love potion's effect, but at least he didn't know about it ahead of time. No. Benny, just against everyone's will, makes a love spell. And even worse, he puts it in a bottle titled Hormonia. You know how teenagers are.
Some of our pheromones and the pee of a couple of ticked-off slugs. You can't always resort to... Wait. How did you get my pheromones?
And the girls aren't the only ones being violated by this. Benny sprays it on the vampire girls, and they immediately start giggling and moaning, and I don't want to watch this anymore. What could 10-year-old me have possibly have been thinking while watching this? I think it may have warped my brain.
You know what I love? All your striped shirts. They just scream.
Take a chance, cause there is no circumstance that you can't handle.
I've been doing that bit too often. Then Benny fumbles the potion, and in mere seconds, it is now affecting every girl in the school. But only the girls. Only the girls. At least in the Rick and Morty episode, they had the courage to let the dudes want to fuck Morty. And also that one episode of the Nickelodeon Fred show where the love potion makes Kevin fall in love with Fred. Why do I remember that? Anyway, this is getting out of hand.
I've kissed a girl before. Cousins don't count. Dude, I told you I didn't know, okay?
What happened to the show? It used to be normal.
Your shirt looks so great.
Again with the striped shirts. And if the episode wasn't already uncomfortable enough, now the teacher is in love with Benny, who I think is supposed to be a freshman. In all fairness, what they're doing is terrible and disgusting, but they are freshmen. Freshmen are horny 24/7, and it clouds their judgment. Trust me, I should know. I should at least have someone else proofread these, because what I meant was I remember being a freshman, but what it sounded like was, oh, I know freshmen, which is way creepier. There are some jealous guys later, but considering 10% of the active students are guys, they don't really do much. I will say it's kind of sad Rory asks Benny about Erica, considering he just had a thing for her. But aside from that, Rory is cheering for them on the sidelines. Even though his true love is separated, he is nothing but supportive for his bros, and he doesn't know about the potion. As far as Rory knows, Smosh just got game all of a sudden. I was going to say that they don't deserve a friend like Rory, but then I remembered how many times he just bailed on them. He does, however, unfortunately, find out about the potion and calls Benny's grandma to see if he can get more. Two things. One, he lost his cool points by trying to get on the creepy experiment. Two, he has Benny's grandma's number.
This is Benny's friend, Rory.
Hey, Rory, how's it hanging, bro?
Good. It's hanging good.
What? Of course now all the girls want to kill them because that's how magic works or something. And maybe they don't deserve to die, but this is all their faults. At least I can find solace in the fact that the show knows this is a bad thing and is punishing Smosh for it accordingly.
Listen, can we just make...
Shut your infuriating little face!
That's what I'm saying! How are our boys gonna get out of this predicament?
Quick, to the cage of eternity!
To the what? What the fuck is this? Smosh waits out the night in the cage of eternity that he has in his backyard, and the girls are pissed. As they should be. They're also out in broad daylight, but they've dropped that a while ago, so who cares? I'm the one who keeps bringing it up. So Ethan definitely ruined his chances, right? Like, why would Sarah ever go for the guy who pulled that shit on her? So the vampire girls remember everything that happened while they were brainwashed, so we can assume that also the entire student body remembers that they got brainwashed. I feel like this should come up again, but I know it won't. It took me an embarrassingly long time to learn that this episode's title was a pun on iPod and not tripod, or my first guess, Tide Pods. I'm about to tell you a lot of information very fast, but I need you to remember this episode came out in 2011. Benny is being the worst guy ever again and takes out a random woman's headphones without asking her because he's made it to weird gym bro level of shitty guy. Luckily for him, she's catatonic because of the roots growing from her headphones to her brain. And because Smosh is dumb now, they think it's just a girl thing.
That earwax was epic.
Alright, the principal appears again, confirming that he does not, in fact, remember turning into a doll, and I guess the rest of the school doesn't remember being weird love slaves, so maybe only other supernatural creatures have the ability to remember what these goons do to them? Rory is flexing his shirt from the cool underground band he went to see. Then a character that looks like the perfect fusion between Ethan and Benny shows up to say one line and then fuck off. I have so many more questions about the boy. As it turns out, Erica is also a fan of the band, and Rory sees this as a way to get closer to her. Now I want you to remember 2011. Erica keeps looking for leaks of the new album, but keeps getting rickrolled.
Looks like you've been rolled. I hate that!
But because Rory is the most realistic depiction of a maidenless nerd in fiction, he knows the perfect torrent website to get the songs. And then he says he will burn the songs to a DVD. Those were his words. DVD for Erica. 2011. And it gets weirder. Sarah's laptop is emitting a high-pitched screaming noise, so she pawns it off to Ethan to fix it because she only knows how to solve problems one way and she doesn't want to punch her computer.
You know what's going on here? Yeah. The music industry is finally fighting back at illegal downloads.
Was this still a thing? Was Napster still a thing?
Weird. Sarah's laptop is virus-free.
Sure, you could tell it's virus-free because the free anti-malware I downloaded said so. Ethan gets another plot vision, and it's of a tree. It turns out the oldest tree in town that got blessed by druids just got cut down right next to the school, and now it's out for revenge. So, of course, the gang decides to hurt the tree even more by digging it out of the ground and killing it. Like, I know it's just a tree, but you didn't even try reasoning with it. You immediately chose violence. Why is violence always the go-to for you guys?
Cutting the roots should kill it. Then we can save Vegetable Girl.
It's gardening time.
Is that the best you can do?
Erica meets up with Rory to get the songs he's downloaded in the computer lab, and he thinks it's a date. Smosh comes to explain the plot to him, but Rory could not care less about what they just told him. The girl from earlier that Benny harassed is here, though, and she's basically a corpse. The gang frees up some vines, so the girl wakes up from the catatonic state, immediately notices that it's night, she's at school with just Rory, and she has dirt all over her face, and she reacts pretty appropriately to this. I gotta say, despite the time he tried to get in on the love spell plot, he's actually been pretty clean. Like, he drinks blood from vials and is pretty content just being a normal guy. It's cute. Unfortunately, Rory always gets punished for being the least worst person in the group.
I just downloaded myself a love life. What's going on?
Rory is possessed by the tree demon, and this is the perfect time to hash things out, but the gang already tried to kill him, so he's reasonably upset. Oh, by the way, Erica totally leaves Rory to die.
Maybe a virus can infect the system and take this thing down. Where'd you just get a computer virus?
Please. Are my slaves from then? Doesn't that sound great?
No.
You've got 30 seconds left until I activate the final destruction.
They defeat the tree demon by rickrolling it so hard it dies. I can relate. Arrives, takes over school, gets trolled once, dies. At least Rory got his cool new torrented album that Erica goes for, but this time around, Rory learned self-respect. Again.
Gotta earn the power of self-respect.
He stands up for himself before immediately folding because Erica flips her hair. Most realistic nerd in fiction. We're a decent way through season 1 now, and now we're getting into some memories. I don't have specific details. I don't remember specific things. I just remember the vague idea of watching the show. There are a handful of things I do remember, like there being a blood drive, light tubes, there's a werewolf episode at some point. This episode opens with Smosh being headlocked by a very hairy, very clearly adult man. This is definitely the werewolf episode. Hairy adult man declares he wants to be friends with the Smosh Boys and then leaves to buy alcohol legally, probably. Ethan is clearly thrown off by this and is suspicious of the hairy adult's ulterior motives, while Benny is just ecstatic to be friends with a popular kid. Big quotation marks around kid. There's this idea everyone has when it comes to like bullying campaigns that all kids that are ostracized or like sit by themselves are just victims, when a lot of the time some people are just unpleasant to be around. The point I'm getting to is these boys are not just nerds. They're like assholes. Which is aggravated even more by the fact that their new hairy adult friend is just kind of like a good guy. Like, he's annoying and eats Ethan's food, but it isn't Ethan's food, it's his parents, and the parents love his new friend.
Yeah, I'm team captain.
Really? For what team?
Oh, I don't know, all of them.
Our champ here's a hardcore mathlete. And that's a tough sport, right?
I'm so used to the cliche of dad being disappointed in his son and wished he played sports that it legitimately shocked me to my core that Ethan's dad is supportive in the face of a jock. And it's not like he's even bullying them. He asked Ethan to brush his back from time to time, but that's what true bros are for. We get a subplot of Sarah trying out for different sports, which results in everyone on the team getting injured. Sarah is distraught that she can't do normal high school things anymore, but Erica revels in it.
You don't fit in with humans anymore, Sarah. Why keep fighting it?
Okay. So then why do you stay here? If I found out I was an immortal vampire, I would not finish high school, ever. I would leave immediately. I always assumed Erica liked being perceived as popular, but if she truly believes they don't belong, leave, dude. Maybe she's just holding out for Sarah to join her, or maybe she isn't as popular as she wants to be. I like that later in the episode, we see Erica go obsessive fangirl over Harry Guy, showing that while she may have gotten hotter, she's still that YA nerd at heart. She's still talking about the Twilight parody to real people. Anyways, Benny says ka-chow? He knows what network he's on. In a ploy to expose their hairy friend as a werewolf in front of the whole school, terrible idea by the way, Benny flubbed it up and the spell rebounds off of Harry and hits Ethan. You can see where this is going. Now Ethan is gonna turn into a werewolf. But what are the rules for this? I know not just anyone could pull out magic spells, but you could just turn anyone into a werewolf whenever you want. I thought it was gonna be a more exclusive club. And if the spell wasn't enough to hammer it home, Ethan also gets scratched by Harry, which is kind of overkill, honestly. And of course, their new friend apologizes profusely for toppling Ethan because he's actually a really nice guy. Yeah, they're gonna try and expose him anyway. Werewolves and vampires have a predisposed rivalry, so Ethan starts banging heads with Sarah. And honestly, nothing makes a shit better than hurling insults at each other. Or so I've heard.
Guess who got 2 last-minute tickets to Curling the Musical?
That's hilarious. The gang finds out that there is a cure out there for any paranormal ailments, including vampirism, which is a crazy plot point to drop in episode 9 of your vampire show. Where did this cure come from? Who made it? If it's so easy to find it, then why didn't anyone use it prior? Are there multiple of these? I mean, it's just a glowing blue potion. How hard could it be to replicate? These are all very good questions that this show does not ask. What it does do is a sitcom misunderstanding where Rory throws a party at Ethan's house when he's really going through it. My dude is hairy in the worst places. All the important characters show up to the impromptu party, and Harry adult is somewhere in the house. Erica and Benny, both trying to find him for different reasons, come across this horrifying beast in the basement, and it tries to kill Benny, and Erica cheers it on because she's a bad friend. Until Sarah swoops in to save Benny and ruin Erica's fun. And again, we almost have all of our characters together until Rory notices the monster and immediately runs away, as he is prone to do. Sarah, who every episode and movie up until this point wanted to be a normal girl again, sacrifices her happiness to turn Ethan back to normal. Oh, did we not all know this was Ethan? I thought we all knew that. In a funny, cute little twist, it's revealed that their new friend actually transforms into a normal dog. How silly. And Erica, despite not even knowing he was a werewolf prior and was just attracted to him as a jock, is disgusted by this and immediately loses interest. Like, he's gonna turn back. The episode kind of seems like it's gonna reveal that the jock was just pretending to be friends to get their help to find the blue potion, but he is still really friendly to all of them after they use the potion. Like, he just wants to be friends. I mean, he's a paranormal creature, and he knows you guys are vampires. This character could add an interesting new dynamic to the group of already established characters. Or it would've, if we ever saw this character again. It would be redundant to compare this, right? In all fairness, there's only so many spooky plot points you can do for your show set in high school. They did zombies, vampires, witches, werewolves, ghosts, evil clones. What else is there to do without outright just copying Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Now, this title may seem like a parody of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I actually think it's a reference to Dog the Bounty Hunter, which is worse. The nerd crew gathers around to watch their #1 favorite show that they never mentioned before this. I swear to God, I'm getting extreme deja vu from this, and I don't know why. Every now and then, an episode has a new framing device to mix it up a little bit that I just failed to mention every time. This one has Zombieland-style rules that appear on screen, but there's only like 3 of them.
These bars can't hold me forever! Hey, there's only like 2 of them.
The Adventure Time clips are gonna become the new community clips running joke in this.
I'm a sexy Dracula. You mean vampire? I don't need to know which Dracula I am to be a Dracula.
And fought that sexy vampire lady.
If this is based on real-life ghost hunting shows, then there's absolutely no way this is live. They would never. But as it turns out, it is, as the ghost hunter guy is about to choose the winner of his sweepstakes by selecting a random house in a random neighborhood and hoping they let him in. Evidently, Ethan doesn't recognize his own front door because it's his house. Way to dox a guy on live TV. No, but legitimately, the boys don't even mention entering a contest, so this dude really went to a random door and just lucked out that they knew who he was. Not only that, but he ended up at a household obsessed with him. Ethan has a ton of memorabilia that we've never seen before, but are gonna get gaslit into thinking it was there the whole time. Also worth noting that Rory floats while thinking about him, a thing he only did once before while thinking about cheerleader Benny. Just thought it was interesting. So he's just gonna follow them to school now? Why is this allowed? He's a random adult with a truck full of weapons. You would think this would be a story of a washed up loser who only nerds like, but girls are fiending over him. They let him teach a class. What is wrong with this town? I mean, in a town full of weird stuff happening all the time, the townsfolk are more likely to believe this. Oh my God, what was that? There's a floating orb in the footage looking ass. After class, the hunter shows the kids some of his paranormal artifacts, but Ethan doesn't get any visions, so they deduce that these are all fake and he's actually a fraud. You guys watch his show and also have met real monsters. Why are you surprised by this?
Is that an undead detector? It's picking something up. Something close. Gear up! What's up, fools?
With the exception of this, why did that work? Because if he is a fraud who has never actually met a real monster, where did he get this extremely advanced technological device that can actually track when vampires are around? Who made that? You don't think this would be worth stealing, guys?
Hey, Jerry, how's the best producer in the world? Hold on. Let you guys listen in on some showbiz chatter.
Mikowski, the ratings on your last episode were like a disease. You're putting people to sleep. It's what squeak that floor made it. Oh man, I hope that table didn't move.
So Hunter brings out some more doohickeys that actually work for some reason, and Sarah appears at the same time. Sarah sets off his vampire detecting camera, that he has. I thought these vampires were supposed to be like a well-kept secret through generations. Why does middle-aged washed-up TV celebrity have one of these? The whole show crumbles under the weight of this guy's magic van. So Hunter goes out to catch Sarah as he believes it will revitalize his show. To do this, he starts another live broadcast. How often does this show air? He also uses the Dix My Butt train face cam, which popped me pretty hard. But it's okay, because Ethan has a plan. He's gonna dress like a furry. Does this background music sound similar to anyone else?
Looking for this?
I gotta let that show go, man.
You track my forbidden girlfriend?
And my future vampire wife. Another vampire?
Okay, I get what they're going for. They want to trick him into thinking they were faking, but why doesn't he recognize them? You've been staying exclusively around these kids for a whole day. You think you'd be able to pick out some faces. And just when I think Ethan is gonna save the day with his smarts, Sarah kicks Hunter really hard. Yay! What lessons am I to learn from this?
Worst episode ever.
I don't know, I think the love spell one might still be the worst. Not that anyone's ranking them. Because he got duped so hard, he changes gears and adapts to the 2011 times and becomes a prank show. Now he goes town to town, pranking people. You know YouTube existed at this time. He didn't have to be on TV. Also, he drops this little nugget.
Whitechapel. The boring town with the one trophy high school.
Which I thought was a nice bit of continuity. Unfortunately, the show lacks a lot of continuity, but at this point, it's mainly just a comedy. So for a show that has a different air date from the episode list date, it's very confusing, but it doesn't really matter because of the non-continuity. But don't worry, we're going to get more continuity later. But anyway, remember earlier when I said they did zombies, witches, ghosts, werewolves? What else could they do? It's zombies. They did zombies again.
I'm not breaking any arms or smashing anyone through a wall just because he called you... What was it?
This episode's really off to a fever pitch, huh? Sarah is done punching things really hard for Ethan. She wants him to fight his own battles now, which is rich coming from her. Sarah has her own stuff going on. I thought Benny was the teen with no boundaries, but Sarah goes up to this cute artist guy and takes his sketchbook out of his hands. If you were an artist or knew an artist in high school and they always had a sketchbook, you know that the worst possible thing a person can do is take their sketchbook and be like, ooh, let me see. They hate that. And then she has to keep the picture he drew of her. I think it's supposed to be her. It kind of just looks like a girl, which to be fair, she is. Why would he let you keep it? Apparently this works on this guy because it wins Sarah a coffee date. Or maybe she's at the school? This episode, like how the previous episode used the rules counter, has a framing device of cutaways and flashbacks, but it's incredibly unclear what is happening when. The story starts in medias res with an A plot and B plot, so really there are 4 we have to follow. Present A, present B, past A, past B. The only reason I even bothered bringing up Sarah at the school is because I think it's funny that she just beats up the principal. Like, what if he wasn't a zombie? You don't know. You assaulted the man. But she got lucky because he is a zombie because of the coffee machine. And now she's back at the coffee shop, which is maybe where she found out the zombie plot? I'm lost. At least we can rely on Ethan's visions laying out the plot for us. Coffee is green goo. Alright, got it. Makes sense. They're also really fucking these guys up. They have full intention to cure everyone, so it's really funny that they're trying to decapitate some of these zombies.
Why is it all of a sudden turning people into zombies? What changed?
Whoa, what's this? This isn't our liquid chicken debrainer. What? It says Lana Latte. It's the same color jug, but bigger, with a lot more warning labels. So where is it?
Alright, so this isn't even paranormal then. They just all ate horse dewormer. Weirdly enough, it's not a Buffy plot. This is a Community episode, the one I referenced earlier. So even if vampires and werewolves didn't exist in this universe, this would still happen? Sarah fights off zombies with her superpowers, and because Artist Guy is a coward, he runs away. When any other guy in that position would be completely on board with superpowered strong girl, Coward.
If we get a sample of the coffee, maybe we can analyze it and find a cure.
If you're going to find a cure, then why did you send rorriM after them? He's gonna systematically rip them apart. rorriM's a beast. I hate to complain about editing choices in a show that nobody talks about. It seems like bullying, but I already mentioned there's a bunch of flashbacks and cutaways, but every time it happens, there's a loud swooshing sound effect.
I had a chat with the folks down there earlier.
Wow, you are like really good at that.
I tried to call you to warn you. You never picked up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of lent my phone to Mr. Collingwood.
And the more and more there's cuts, they start to add up. They figure out that the zombie's weakness is cold because coffee is hot. They drank poison. And because he is an amalgamation of all the most annoying character traits, Benny got bit and didn't tell anyone. Have you ever heard the insult, "You're the kind of guy that would get bit in a zombie movie and then not tell anyone"? It's Benny. They're talking about Benny. I know that these are obviously supposed to be zombies, but does chicken debrainer travel through bite? The upside of this is we get to see rorriM become vampire/zombie. I didn't know these things stacked. Or maybe the zombie part overpowers the vampire part. He is brain dead now. In the end, Ethan and Sarah managed to turn on the air conditioning and cure the zombies. Momentarily.
That's how yesterday's bizarre outbreak of hot coffee fever was frozen in its tracks by common cold.
This is a very temporary fix. What happens when it gets hot again? I didn't like that one at all. At least I can understand the love potion one. Let's just move on. I wonder what spooky Halloween creature we'll meet in the next episode. Let's pretend that one didn't happen. Well, frankly, I don't know what era we're in anymore, because the babysitting gang wants to watch a movie together, but rorriM knocks over the satellite on the roof, so they cannot. Maybe I'm showing my age, or my privilege, but did people have, like, physical satellites in 2011? Like a big dish on your roof? Regardless, because the gang is bored, and this is a spooky show, they immediately escalate to Ouija board.
It's like a ritual conducted to make contact with spirits.
Dead spirits?
Well, yeah, Sarah, that's what spirits means. Alright, there's been a full moon like every night.
Look, we're hanging out with vampires. We've taken down zombies. We pruned a haunted tree last month.
So putting together a timeline, haunted tree happened, let's say, right before Werewolf, which had a full moon. It still doesn't make sense why it's always fall whenever they are. I imagine they can't name the Ouija board by name because Hasbro? But this isn't even an accurate ripoff. There's no spelling of letters. It only answers yes or no questions. No wonder your parents have this in the basement. It's a glorified magic 8-ball.
Will the world end in the year 2012, as the Mayans predicted? Oh, no!
I mean, ours didn't. But yours, on the other hand, I mean, I have the gift of hindsight. I'm watching a show years down the line. How can this spirit tell the future? It's just like a dead person, right? How would they know? Maybe that's why they were wrong. The thing I do remember from this episode is just that there are rules. I don't remember the rules, I just know that there are. rorriM breaks one of the rules by playing by himself, and then the gang breaks the other rules by taking their hands off the board. Whoops, I guess I did know the rules. And because we need some excitement in our lives, the demon possesses Sarah, and she becomes awesome.
Ethan, where's Sarah?
We think she's possessed by a ghost from the Netherlands.
Sorry. She's just getting you guys a snack.
Why are you lying to her? She already brought a creepy doll to life. I don't think knowing this would kill her. Sarah Demon goes around destroying the kitchen and living room and then magically whooshes away to cause more havoc. And then we get to see the iconic glowing red room shot that's used in the intro because honestly, it does look really cool. Like, it fits the theme of the show. Anyway, speaking of the theme of the show, they save the day with violence again. Yeah, good plan. Just go at her with a crowbar and a metal bat. That'll do it. Evidently, all it does is get them spit on.
Oh, wait. It's ectoplasm.
How do you know that?
It's an EMF app that I jerry-rigged to detect paranormal activity.
How did you do that? What? Guys, I jailbroke my phone and now it tells me when there's ghosts around. Remember back in the day where you could download like a lie detector app where you put your thumbprints on, it's like, oh, this person's lying. It's probably like that. I know it's real because I got it on the dark web. The link was in the YouTube comments. Alright, well, I'm getting kind of bored here. Just another generic monster in this teen vampire show about nothing, honestly. No continuity. We could probably just skip to the end, right?
Once we suck the soul out, we'll need a place to contain it.
The Cubule Animus?
Wait, what? Wait, the Cubule Animus from the movie? Continuity? So they dig up the magic box they trapped a LARPer in months ago, and then glowing blue spirits leak out of it, and oh my god, we're going somewhere now. No wonder I remember this little box and its name. It's an important plot point. An important plot point that they hook up to a leaf blower to suck in the demon they let loose inside Sarah. I gotta word that better. They suck the bad soul out of her, and then she comes to and still has all the shit on her. I thought the new look was just to indicate that she was possessed, like this is what the demon looked like, but when it goes away, it's all still there, so before the demon came downstairs to terrorize the boy, she had to quickly put on black lipstick and frizzy up her hair. This is a comedy video. I'm not here to talk about the political implications or important plot details about the show. I can feel myself getting more and more nitpicky the more episodes I watch, like, oh, this is a joke, but in reality, I'm just like, this show sucks, which feels like punching down, and not even true, because I remember loving the show. I'm sure there's something that's gonna happen that, like, I remember and I love. Something's gonna happen very soon.
Did you take care of the Kubile Animus?
Yeah, I hit it really well. That thing is never gonna bother us again.
Shit's about to go down. Now I'm excited, not just because it shot adrenaline into me after being bored for a decent amount of time, but I remember how hyped I was when this happened, for the lore, the continuity. The Netflix version of this episode is titled Jesse's Girl, which is the only case in which I think the new title is better. Anyway, you can imagine why the episode is called that. This is the finale to the first season, and it definitely feels like it. There's a big school dance, and they reference stuff that happened earlier.
I don't know. Ever since we dug up the Kubile Animus and then Sarah got possessed and trashed the house, I've kind of felt like laying low.
Like super earlier. That just happened. Another full moon? Is this supposed to take place a month later? Where has Jesse been? Oh, yeah, sorry, gave it away. If you couldn't tell already.
OMG. You're back.
He's back. But first, we gotta figure out this timeline. We very rarely get this much continuity.
He's about as big of a geek as they come, even for a freshman.
So they're freshmen.
I'm gonna be 17 forever.
And she's 17 and became immortal over the summer. So she's a senior, right? I thought they were cute together, but now this ship has become concerning all of a sudden. To be fair, common theme with vampires. But Sarah doesn't want to be a vampire. She's already struggling being a fledgling. And honestly, I don't blame her. Before, all she knew was that she was a fledgling and had to be forever. But she just found a glowing cure. Getting cured is not out of the question. And remember, Sarah doesn't become a vampire until she drinks a human's blood. Unfortunately, Ethan gets a vision about her drinking someone's blood. Of course, the visions are only vague when they need to be.
Do it. Come on. Finish me off.
Do it. And joined me in the dark side.
Strong, but so alone. We're the same, you and I.
We're not so different, you and I. Join me, Spider-Man. Man, you really got your villain lines down. This dude is definitely a theater nerd, but unfortunately the nature of being a male theater kid means that he's also a master manipulator, so he knows that Sarah is struggling. He uses this opportunity to proposition Sarah to run away with him. Just leave. Become a full vampire. Live forever. And move on with her life. It kind of seems like she's wavering, but that's nipped in the bud because the next person she talks to about it, she lets them know she immediately wants to kill this guy. But before that happens, we need the rest of the group caught up. Benny lied about burying the Kubile Animus and just hid it in Ethan's closet, who then finds it and gets a vision of Jesse. Honestly, you should have seen this coming. Nice of the visions to tell them everything they need to know.
Sarah, listen.
Jesse's back.
How'd you know?
He just proposed to me.
What?
So if she's just gonna tell them immediately anyway, why even have the vision? What is its purpose? Also, like I said, Sarah wants his head on a stake. Before going into this, I thought I remembered most of the show and then bits of the movie, but upon rewatching this, I actually remember more of the movie and misremember other stuff as the movie. So it's pretty cathartic and a little nostalgic to see the weapons and light tubes come back. Or maybe I just like light tube violence. Because it's their first big dance, the mom wants to take everyone's picture. But because Sarah's a vampire, Smosh has to block her from the shot to not give away her secret. I guess the mom can't see the Gaussian blur effect put over Sarah on the camera.
Have a good time, and don't drink too much of the red stuff.
What?
With wine?
Then it's time to kick some butt.
Whose butt? What are you wearing? We're supposed to dress up. You said we're wearing suits.
Not space suits, Rory.
I love him. I would do anything for him. He is precious to me. In another plot wrinkle, it seems that Erica is working alongside Jesse, but it was a trap all along. Jesse has his gang. I don't know where he found these guys because they're definitely not the same guys from the movie. We also saw a bunch of them die. Some henchmen exist just to be killed as Ethan pulls out an Assassin's Creed knife strike. No clue where he kept that. Ethan's got a crazy body count at this juncture. To dissolve the tension of Erica's choice and to take away the character's agency, she isn't actually with Jesse. He just brainwashed her. I know it's not her fault, and I really don't mean to victim blame, but after the third brainwashing, I would start to think the common denominator is me. Benny gets tossed into the bathroom after trying to cast a spell on Peter Pan. But because Ethan is a badass now, he gets some good light tube shots in. All this talk of light tubes and Jesse returning just makes me pine for the movie. But this isn't nearly as good. I mean, the movie had a Smosh reference.
Shut up.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, okay, they're on the same level now. Sarah can't get through to Erica as her close friend, so she does what she always does. And say it with me now, solves the problem with violence.
Ow! What the heck? I don't care how cute you are. No one puts me in a trance.
Okay, but just so we're keeping track, Ethan also put you in a trance, so it kind of evens out. But I guess Jesse doesn't see it that way, and in the way of his hero, the Green Goblin, he makes Sarah choose. He bites Ethan and fills him with venom, I guess. So Sarah has a choice. She can either keep living as a fledgling and maybe someday find a cure and let Ethan die, or she can suck his blood and save his life. This is a very emotional moment and a big change for the show. And I hate to ruin the moment, but, so if Ethan got poisoned, which is what the show says happens, he already got bit. So Sarah draining him would not stop him from becoming a vampire.
Now, either you become one of us, or he does.
Okay, wait, never mind. So he's going to become a vampire if she doesn't drink him. But that's not how it worked previously. He would still become a vampire, or at least a fledgling. Even if all of that doesn't make any sense at all, and they still need someone to suck the blood out of Ethan to save his mortal life, why can't Erica do it? Like, she's standing right there. She's watching Sarah do this a couple feet away. Maybe it has to be a fledgling, but we aren't told that, and that's also an insane stipulation. Regardless of it being confusing plot-wise, it is still a huge moment for both the character and the show. Sarah has spent the whole series up to this point not wanting to become a vampire, but she has to accept her fate and become one to save the man she likes, is friends with, babysits. And as the season ends, the three vampires, Rory, Erica, and Sarah, all fly away together to spend vampire time together. Sarah and Erica, although they fought a lot this season, will be best friends forever. And also Rory is there. And that's impactful, right? Maybe just because I made emotional connections to these characters when I was 10, but it still made me feel something, you know? And when I tell you I was obsessed with this show, I mean it. What's weird is that I never hear people talk about it, and I couldn't talk to anyone else about it at the time, but it was popular. #1 cable show among kids 2 to 11 in its time period, according to Wikipedia, on the most popular children's network, and yet I have never met another person who has watched this show. And the only one other person who did watch it, I only saw once a year, but luckily enough it worked out, because he had to wait a year for the next season anyway. But even after the first season, he had moved on. My Babysitter's a Vampire filled this very interesting niche of paranormal show set in a small town on the Disney Channel that no other show was reaching. But then 2011 ended, and it became 2012, and let's just say there was no reason to talk about My Babysitter's a Vampire anymore. People were a little preoccupied. 2012, 14 days before My Babysitter's a Vampire returned from hiatus, the Disney Channel dropped a show that would shape a generation and take the world by storm. Babysitter never stood a chance. So as soon as the second season premiered, it was already on its way out. It didn't stand a chance. It didn't help either that the show was actually paced out this time, and it aired on the same night as Gravity Falls every week for a long time. You would think maybe it would help expose new eyes to it, but in reality, all it did was shove it in the shadow of Gravity Falls. But still, for a show that's very rarely talked about, it was still popular enough to get a second season that Disney Channel also picked up. Some more from Wikipedia. A 13-episode second season of the show was greenlit by Fresh TV. It was originally revealed by Vanessa Morgan on her official personal Twitter. Filming for the second season lasted from September 21st, 2011 to November 7th, 2011. The same day filming ended, Disney Channel announced that it would pick up the show again for a second season. A promo for the second season first aired on Disney Channel on May 7th, 2012. Did 10-year-olds have Twitter in 2012? What's weird about all the information we have about it is I still can't find any promotion or bumpers or commercials for the second season. I found a YouTube video of a camera pointed at the TV as the season premieres, but I still can't find any commercials, no marketing. But it did air, because I remember it vividly. I have fond memories associated with talking about the first season, so I really did not think I remembered the second season. I mean, beyond how it ends. But this season is not only ringing a ton of bells, but it's also already way better. It's shot on different equipment, they have more cast members, they built new sets, they have more school than just a hallway now. But before I get ahead of myself with genuine excitement, let's start the first episode. The new season starts with an actual new paranormal menace that we haven't seen before. A green fog is enveloping vampires.
Me when the fog arrives. Oh my fucking god, this is bullshit.
There's a time skip. Nobody has seen Sarah since last school year, and surprisingly, in the meantime, the nerds have been working with Erica. Do I even need this anymore? I hate to say it, but this is exactly how season 3 of Buffy starts. But hey, if we get 8 more seasons of My Babysitter's a Vampire, one of the most beloved characters will become a rapist. But on the other hand, musical episode. I mean, Erica working with Smosh is the implication. Why else would she call him? They barely talked before, and now she has his number? We get a better look at the new school.
Okay, come on, cut it out.
I was just testing something. Now, I was trying to summon chicks, and then... Aww.
Well.
Oh, Benny. You haven't changed at all. Sarah returns as a full-blown vampire after her soul-searching adventure and immediately gets hit with homework.
It's from the council. The council. The Vampire Council.
So the Vampire Council that got name-dropped a long while ago is actually going to be very important this season. Actually, very similarly to Gravity Falls, the plot starts to move in season 2. Maybe because they knew they weren't going to get any more seasons, or maybe they just wanted to take deeper stories. Anyway, there's a new vice principal, and Sarah immediately assaults him like she did with the actual principal. 2 for 2. What a loser. Belongs in the trash. But he forgets and doesn't press charges because Erica knows Benny knows a forgetting spell. Calling Ethan is one thing, but friends with Benny? She really has changed. Because Sarah turned down the council, they send a... Sorry, the fedora distracted me. Now this is a vampire. We got to see what Smosh and Erica were up to and how they changed. We get to see the new Sarah, but something's missing. There he is. There's our boy. Absolutely dripped out. Homie's got a cat laser eye shirt. I love this guy. The guy who starred in the Dusk movies, this is the world's version of Twilight, I don't think I mentioned that, is also in town for some reason. It's not really important beyond the fact that Erica kidnaps him. I guess Smosh really did rub off on her.
Oh, you're one of those. Well, look, I can't bite you. I did that once and I got sued.
What? Fedora Man and his sidekick, obviously, go after Ethan to get to Sarah, but at the same time, the fog arrives.
There's something behind me, isn't there?
It's right behind me, isn't it? The fog takes over the sidekick and makes him kill my new favorite character, Rip Fedora Man. He was gone too soon.
He said they were attacked by a smelly green mist.
Smelly green mist? Did Ethan's mom make tacos again?
Yo, he's got a backwards snapback now? Every new scene with Rory, he must have one new accessory. Once again, the nerds have a plan.
Guess he's not home.
Do cell phones make that noise when you dial? Is this another Benny phone picture situation? Benny uses his 1990s phone to get the vampires off their tail, and Rory helps Ethan sneak into his house, but unfortunately, he has no new clothes.
There's over a dozen disappearances in the last month.
Local goths disappear. Yeah, okay, it's definitely going after vampires. In comparison, this absolutely blows the first season out of the water. Can we talk about how much better the pacing is now? So much has happened, and it doesn't feel rushed, and we're only halfway through the episode. The story's better, the music's better. Check out this cinematic shot of this creepy building. We've graduated past multicam sitcom to Goosebumps episode, which is still not great, but still. Smosh needs to bait the vampire killing fog with vampire DNA, so they have Rory pee in a pencil cup. I didn't make that up, I swear. The council believe that Smosh is responsible for the fog, which, considering everything so far, is a fair assessment, so Sarah's on trial on their behalf.
And she's no threat to us.
You may not be a threat, but your little stake-wielding friends are.
Oh my god. I remember this. I forgot that I remembered it, but in the recesses of my brain, I had little girl vampire stored there, which is concerning to say, actually. The fog is on its way to the trial, so the nerds spring into action. Rory has the little Nerf axe that I remember playing with. He gets it. He's a vibe. The fog arrives and goes after the pee bottle, but then Ethan stumbles over and drops it, and yet no pee falls out. There never was pee, was there? We were robbed! The fog goes after Ethan next, but the plan can still work.
It still needs something. Do you mind?
Yeah. Ow, my hair!
I know this is the bare minimum for most shows, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't get hype seeing the whole team together. I am so starved for paranormal Scooby Gang shit. Not gang shit, but you know what I mean. The gang stops the fog, proves their innocence, avoids the ire of the Vampire Council, and saves the day. Just in time for Ethan's parents. Or just his dad. I guess she left him last summer. I would too. To go on another ridiculous date.
Mom and I'll be home from Gourmet Disco at 11.
And to start out the new season, everyone gets a happy ending. Didn't Erica kidnap a guy?
They're real. Vampires are real. They can fly. Look. I have a picture of my vampire girlfriend. There, see? She's a real vampire.
Sources say the struggling actor is currently receiving treatment.
So canonically, the amount of people the gang has put into therapy is now 2. 3 if you're counting me. I gotta say, I loved that. We get an ominous ending hinting at the future of the series. The characters flow better, not only because of some tweaks, but they also get to interact now. Everything about the show is so much better in season 2, which makes it even more devastating that the very few people that have actually watched the show haven't finished it. Remember Mr. G from the Haunted Camera episode? Well, he's back to say even more creepy lines.
It's the least I can do since you chlorophyll my life with love. Sorry, Green Gang, your full root massage is gonna have to wait. My students are sure gonna dig all the archaeological stuff I dug up on you. Oh, that's smart. I think I better go and see the nurse.
I'm getting ahead of myself, I know. I'm just really glad to see him back, honestly. And he's a focal point of the episode as he digs up a crystal skull that summoned the goddess Lucia. The newest Indiana Jones film had a bigger pop culture effect than you would think. You know what? I've made up my mind. Put a pin in that. Also, for all you freaks out there, feel free to use this clip as you wish.
Hottest sub ever.
Use it for marketing. Put it in a Subway ad. I don't care.
There's a delicious sauce going on right behind, isn't there?
All the dudes at school are obsessed with Lucia, and she chose a good time to come around because the school used to have 90% girls, and now it has like 5. I don't mean 5%, I mean 5 girls. Because the girls don't fall under the spell, Erica and Sarah don't get the appeal, and Ethan isn't fully trans because he's only got eyes for Sarah, and we're moving past the love spell thing. He's a better man now, alright? Let's forget it happened. She even gets the principal on her side. I think that maybe they wrote the principal into the first episode of the season, but the actor had a prior engagement, so they had another stand-in as the vice principal, but then really liked the character, so they saved it for later. It would explain why they just had another guy for one episode and then put him in a trash can. Did I mention that the show is so much more charming now?
Play knees for my queen.
Get your hands off my hot dogs, you weenie.
My queen. Stop it. My queen. My queen.
Why did everyone stop at season 1? This episode in general is actually pretty funny. Or maybe I just find imagery like this hilarious. Also, Mr. G is here, and he's just like a freaky little guy.
Get to work. Now, hang on a jiffy. I'm feeling ship shape, so if you don't mind, I'd like my class back and, ooh, my crystal skull. Oh, guys, what would the fire marshal say about this open flame?
Like, who talks like that? I love this guy. Either they've given the actors more leeway to ad-lib lines, or they just all flow better together.
Praise the Sun King. I am totally praising the Sun King.
I praise him twice as hard as he.
It's up to the girls to save the day now, and by girls I mean Erica and Sarah, and occasionally Grandma, and also the little sister is there. Like I said, they do have a lot more extra sets this season, but unfortunately they didn't account for this episode. Erica and Sarah go hang out without the boys in Ethan's house, in his room. We're not building you guys any more sets. We already gave you a bunch, all right? The girls don't have houses. They're both homeless.
Scientists about a visually swollen solar corona or sun that may melt the entire planet.
Oh, wow. How hilariously ahead of its time.
But there's no need to panic, because this just means we're going to have a doozy of a sunset tonight at the hour of judgment.
Oh no! How horrifyingly ahead of its time. I honestly don't have much to say beyond this episode being funny, because it honestly just is a really good episode.
Yep, chosen one coming through. I'm number one. I'm number one. You heard our queen? Anoint me. Good anointing.
This show rocks. Listen how Mr. G talks even though he's tranced.
Oh, I'm back.
Praise the Sun King.
New favorite character, sorry Fedora guy. The girls finally come up with a plan to block out the sun. They cover the windows with black paint to snuff out the light, and then burst in adorned with biker gear and just beat the shit out of the brainwashed boys. It's good to have them back. Classic Sarah and Erica punching things really hard. This was the plan, and they don't beat up Rory and Benny, they just manually turn them back. You couldn't extend this compassion to all the normal human boys you just broke the bones of. Ethan hits her with the moon rock, she staggers back, drops the skull, it shatters on impact, and Lucia disappears forever. I guess that was the plan. And then Mr. G, who has been attacked by paranormal creeps before and still doesn't get it, demands answers.
We saved the world, and we looked pretty amazing while doing it.
True story.
And they just tell him. Does nobody care about this stuff being a secret anymore? And then I thought more about it. What reason do these guys have to keep it a secret? Like, I know why they want to keep their vampire friends a secret, and also the love potion, since that's, you know, big no-no. But the crystal skull and the evil camera were not their fault. They're just like normal universe occurrences. They weren't even involved with the coffee thing. What's Mr. G gonna do? Call the cops? What are they gonna do? Regardless, the second season has come bursting out of the stables with 2 back-to-back banger episodes, and all they have to do now is keep it up. It's nice to see that time is actually moving in the universe. Ethan is growing up and finally got his learner's permit. Only problem is, doesn't have a car. So Smosh goes to a yard sale. All these houses are crazy massive.
My grandpa left me all his favorite things in his will, so I'm selling them. Is this him? Yeah. Well, hey, are you gonna buy that photo?
Does the picture come with the car? Is the picture meant to help you sell it? Like to guilt trip people? Ethan puts his hands on the wheel and gets a special car vision that awakens a spirit that wants revenge. We're doing ghosts again. At least a haunted car adds a new wrinkle.
Hello, Governor.
Holy crap, it's real!
The car follows Ethan home and he tries to expose this to Sarah, who doesn't get it for some reason. Like, this is what, the 20th paranormal fiend you've heard about, and you draw the line at ghost car?
I don't have the keys.
You probably left them in the ignition. Rookie mistake.
Alright, well, first off, how did he not see that? It's a foot away. Second off, if the keys are right where he needs them to be, then he didn't leave them anywhere. They are simply where they need to be.
It's okay. I still get honked at when I fly. Mostly by geese.
The show got its charm back. Ethan didn't even pay for the car, which makes sense because he didn't buy the car, it came to him. So the car makes Ethan chase after the widowed grandson. Is that what you call people whose grandparents are dead? And crash into his stand. And Sarah has to leave in a hurry because she can smell his blood and doesn't want to be tempted. Alright, so you made him bleed too. Of all the characters who could totally press charges, why don't any of them do that? What is this, Seinfeld?
I hate airline food. Am I right?
Thanks, Rory.
Don't worry, bro. When I first started flying, I rear-ended a 747.
What? The dude he attacked comes to school with a busted skull and crutches and makes an ultimatum. If he doesn't get the car back, he might think about maybe pressing charges. Man, we're way past that. Press charges now. As far as you know, you almost got ran over by a crazy guy. Also, the car is gone again, and you're just like, well, I'm sure he'll give it back. You gotta stand up for yourself, man. Speaking of the car, it's parked right outside school as a buff guy comes by to check out the engine, because I guess that's what buff guys do. They love car engines. It eats him.
Really? Because that's not what everyone thinks.
This is all Ethan Morgan's fault! Where are you, Morgan? I'm coming for you, Ethan!
Why do you think that? You think Ethan set a trap for you with his car? She knew I couldn't resist looking at the engine. I'm a buff guy. Come on, it's what we do. I know I keep saying it, but it is so nice to see the whole gang work out a mystery together. Now all they need is a dog. They deduce that this car is not a ghost, but in fact, a vampire. I'm doing vampires again.
My name Benny the Magic Man Mephistopheles. No.
Is that a motherfucking Cats reference? They were one letter off. Benny sprinkles fairy dust on the car and it drives away all on its own. They're upset by this, but honestly, I see this as a win. Out of sight, out of mind. Smosh figures out that Herbie is going after the family line that fired him when he was alive, and the last target is the rich boy heir to the car company.
Is this where I'm supposed to be for the charity photo shoot?
Charity photo shoot?
Yeah, they said they wanted photos of me donating these croquet mallets to the underprivileged. You look poor.
Scrap the whole plan, let the car get him, he has it coming. To keep him safe, against his will, Benny uses a sleep spell.
Our lives are gonna be so much better now that we can knock out anyone we want.
And this is incredibly concerning to hear from the love spell guy. And their plan is to bait the car with Rory wearing the rich boy's clothes, meaning not only did they roofie him, they also took his clothes off. So many people. So many of them should press charges. The gang topples the car and puts a stake through its heart. I'm not going to argue about the logistics of how you kill a car vampire or even how a car becomes possessed by a vampire. I'm just excited about this unique episode concept. I actually really liked this.
I don't want no.
Oh no, he's got a taste for it now. We got to stop him.
Yep, just you, me, and...
You haven't even seen the rich guy wake up yet, and he's the first guy you did this to. What if it doesn't work? As far as you know, you just killed yourself. Speaking of which, they never cut back to the rich guy. There's a naked dude on Ethan's couch right now that's gonna wake up at any moment. Classic high school shenanigans, I know we've all been there. The continuing episodes after the first are significantly less plot driven, but are still really fun. Let me be clear about this, or white about this. I'm white about everything. Earlier when I was bitching about the lack of continuity, this does not mean that every show needs to have lore and an overarching story to be good. A show does not need to be serialized to be good. An episodic Monster of the Week show can be just as good, if not better, than a serialized show. The problem is, it wasn't. I'm starting to think that the show only recently got access to the movie sets. So maybe they didn't build new ones, they're just using the resources that they weren't allowed before. And that's why the school seems bigger, because this pool is exactly the one from the movie, bushes and everything. The teens are gathered around a TV for Shark Week. Really got the hand on the pulse of the youth, until one of them decides to go for a swim and something happens off screen. Last episode I thought I was being too hard on the show, so I was pulling back on a lot of the critiques I had, because I'm like, oh, the show's getting really good, and we're not gonna have anything bad for a long time. This next scene threw me for a fucking loop.
Hey, baby freshman. It's nap time. That was pathetic!
I said this before, I really hate to do the obvious, oh, whose fetish was put in this show, but legitimately, this has got to be for fetish purposes, right?
Excuse me, Your Highness. Can I please go to the bathroom?
Sure. That's what the diaper's for.
Huh?
Someone is definitely getting off to this. And then B-plot is Sarah drank too much blood, so she starts farting.
Anything more than a pint every few days can make you nauseous and... Wow, that one had some bass in it.
Ew, MG, this is so humiliating.
This is uncomfortable. Can we just not do this one? I know there's only 26 episodes, so I can't really skip any of them, but can we run through this? I don't want to keep talking about this. Rory had some pet gators stored in his locker that he needed to hide from inspection, so he hid them in the toilet. Benny then proceeded to flush the gators along with a jock potion he made. The two mix, and now buff gators are all over town attacking people in the pipes, and no one is upset about it.
I saw this on the Crocodile Hunter. Help me burrito this thing.
Apparently the gators had a baby that is stronger and greener. The teens have another pool party the next day, and I guess the gator really likes that pool. Rory pulls out the Nerf axe again to kill the gator.
I think I'm in the mood for a blonde.
TMI. Come on, let's give these seniors JEI. Just enough information?
Too much info. One man's too much information is another man's too little information. TLI. And one other man's JEI. Just enough information.
So the gang makes the gator explode while Sarah's in the bathroom farting her brains out. Ugh. So the boys come to school the next day in gator skin gear, and I know I want to skip past this episode, but I like Benny in the fedora. I think fedoras are funny.
Fedoras are awesome.
Yes.
Fedoras are awesome. Fedoras are awesome.
Mine's better.
Fedoras are awesome.
I made up my mind in the first minute of the episode after seeing that scene that I just wanted to run through it really quickly. That being said, it's not devoid of charm. We skipped over some more weird shit, but I want to talk about the good stuff. Erica calls the baby freshman already fucking pushing it. Derf Nerders, which Benny also does, completely unrelated, and then they bring up later that Erica used to be a geek. So I really like the subtle nods that they aren't so different and are becoming more and more similar the more they hang out. Erica gets a lot of action this episode considering Sarah's farting all episode. Also, their home economics teacher's name is Oppenheimer, which is funny. So, could have been worse. Like, it has its issues, don't get me wrong, and those issues were sickening, but it's not devoid of charm. I just hope the next episode's better. Let's move on. Upon rewatch, I'm just gonna pretend the Gator episode doesn't exist. I'm gonna delete it from my brain, but then every time I watch it again, I'm gonna be like, oh, right. Smosh are trying out for the hockey team because Canada, and the new vice principal is very determined to make a good team, probably because the school has only had one trophy for decades.
If you're still here and you haven't sustained a major injury, congratulations, you've made the team.
Alright, never mind, this team's gonna suck. But because Benny is Benny, he immediately starts using the power for bad, but they get to hang out with another popular dude, so Also, they have a new lunch lady, so I'm just gonna assume the which one died, which is the best outcome.
Yeah, those are some sweet hands. I mean, that slap shot was awesome.
Hands are a big thing for a lot of people, Ethan. And Erica's attracted to him. I think we've done this before. A jock with some strange paranormal thing happening with him decides to become friends with Ethan and Benny, and Erica is chasing him. What, is there also a full moon again? Sarah is accused by the Vampire Council for grave robbing, which is a really weird line for them to draw. Yeah, it's okay to eat and kill people, but digging up corpses, well, that's just plain wrong. Erica sneaks into the guy's locker room to harass the jock guy, so maybe Smosh aren't the bad guys anymore. Or more likely, they're all bad, now they're just on equal playing field. But of course, Erica feels the face and is so disgusted she thinks hanging out with Sarah and Rory would serve her time better. Ethan has a vision of hockey players and a big gem on the hockey jock's helmet. I gotta be honest, before this vision, I didn't even notice the gem. I guess I thought this is what hockey players look like. The stories converge as the vampire gang finds an old man digging up extra parts from the graveyard.
This old weirdo says the stone on his mask is called the Eye of Zartak. It resurrects dead limbs into whatever shape you put them in.
Wait, any shape? Like you could hypothetically put a torso with a bunch of limbs and make a human millipede? I gotta do some research. The creepy coach I failed to mention because I was focused on the vice principal wants Ethan's brain for the Frankenjock because he knows a lot of hockey stuff. I thought he was just taking the limbs of athletic or strong people, but the coach specifies that he's using the limbs of all the hockey players that have died in this town. And I know it's Canada and a creepy town, but are we really expected to believe a bunch of hockey players died in high school? Never mind, I answered my own question. The rest of the gang comes to rescue Ethan, which I think is very sweet. And we get a quick glimpse of the freak going frame by frame, and he's just a guy with stubble. I absolutely love the show, and I'm not kidding.
As I have your noodle out, you'll have no choice but to let me put it in vaults.
I beg you to rephrase your words. Benny takes down the monster by shooting a puck right into its gem, which he's been struggling to do all episode. I've been watching exclusively this show for weeks, and it wasn't great for a while. I forgot what a character arc feels like. Before Benny takes the shot, Sarah is attacked by a helmet, and then after, she saves the day by getting back up and putting the helmet on the coach. So if we take out the Benny part and play these scenes back to back the way they actually happen in order, he knocks her down, doesn't bother following through, and then she immediately no-sells it and kills him. That's the climax. That's what happens.
Sorry, coach. Looks like you won't be making the cut.
Sarah, you killed that guy. Like, the pizza guy could have been a demon. That was a human guy. The witch tried to stab you, but she gets to be the lunch lady? Sarah proves her innocence by bringing the creepy old guy to the council.
But how do we know you didn't just pay some homeless man to lie for you?
I'm standing right here.
I thought about that. So, I brought you this. These are all the spare parts that were stolen. And if you thought I was draining the dead, you can check for fang marks.
Okay, but Erica did bite this guy earlier. There would be fang marks. Oh, you're taking their word for it? Okay, never mind. The world is back to the way it's supposed to be, with Smosh at the bottom of the food chain, and just when they think they can keep some memorabilia, Vice Principal swoops in to take it. What a weird guy. We were on a hit streak for a while, avoiding the whole diaper and fart shit. But at this point, we're starting to repeat plots a little bit. I will say that the story, the second time they told it, second time around, flowed way better, and the corpse hockey stuff had an interesting wrinkle that kept me more interested. Not all of the episodes are plot important, but not all of them need to be. We can still tell that something fishy is festering in the background. But what is it? I sang a lot of the season's praises, but I did mention how relieved I am that the air order and the Netflix order for season 2 are the same, so I don't have to jump around a lot. It's such a little detail, but it means a lot. It's a teen show set in a high school. We gotta do all the basics. There's a school dance, there's picture day, popularity, sports teams, freshmen and diapers, you know. High school. I remember high school, but I didn't experience all the high school stuff. But this episode is about school theater, the school play, something I've experienced, and I'm gonna be really annoying about this. If you couldn't tell, costumes are kind of my thing. Sorry to all the people who watch me put on this costume, put on this makeup, wave a prop around, and are only now figuring out that I was a theater kid. Should have noticed. You didn't see the warning signs. If we didn't think the group could get any more insufferable, now they're theater kids. The director found the script hidden within a 50-year-old wall, and it's clearly haunted. We've graduated past stealing Buffy plots to stealing Goosebumps plots. That's also something I have more experience in.
My new prank video just hit 1 million views.
Opened by Pranksy.
Classic Pranksy. I'm super popular.
Wait, you're Pranksy?
I gotta tell you guys, I did not expect a Banksy reference in this teen vampire show, but I'm happy to see it. For those of you who don't know, the real-life Banksy was an artist and political activist who made a lot of important pieces, and people still don't know their identity to this day. But I like to think that was also rorriM.
You gotta sign up and help me out with this.
No way. I am not a drama nerd. I am a real nerd.
A man's gotta draw the line somewhere. Ethan is talked into helping Benny as Sarah gets a role in the play, and Erica is cast as an understudy. At the same time, the lead girl gets driven crazy by this old dressing room mirror and drops a bunch of sandbags on herself. I've seen enough of these shows, and you probably have too, that like you pick up on the plot points. Okay, I see what's gonna happen. Erica's gonna get blamed for this because she's the understudy and wanted the role, but in reality, it was the evil mirror, so Erica has to go through the whole episode trying to prove her innocence. But they don't even bother with that. Erica is the lead now, and she's possessed by the mirror. Also, remember earlier when she pulled out a 50-year-old script hidden inside a wall? This has nothing to do with the plot. I gotta say, they really keep me on my toes. Why did she need to be the understudy? Why must the show insist on having a body count? And don't try and tell me, oh, she's just really, really hurt. Dozens of sandbags fell on her. You only need one sandbag to kill someone. Not that I would know.
Glamoring is only something old and powerful vampires can do. So what did you do? Nothing.
I gotta be writing down all this lore stuff. I'm gonna be a master at this. We have yet to see an episode this season with both the mom and the dad, and every time we get an excuse why the other isn't around. They're definitely getting a divorce.
Your father is on a team building trip for his work. And he sent us this cake.
Oh, honey, he's cheating on you for sure. Erica is now fully in mirror possession mode.
Don't upstage me. Ever. Or else.
You may think this is a paranormal occurrence, but this is actually pretty commonplace for high school theater.
I'm a name, Pranksy, so now that name has a face. Recognize.
You don't show up on camera, bud.
No, I don't, but I thought Pranksy would.
I am done with this B-plot. I was about to complain and say, oh man, why didn't he watch the video before he uploaded it? But I'm guilty of the same thing. I get it. I know I already talked about how this season has a stronger cinematic language, but I really do love the shot of Ethan looking at the evil double in the mirror. It's nothing special, but a little cinematic horror in a monster show goes a long way. We get some background as Ethan is sucked into the mirror and gets a vision of the girl trapped inside. On opening night, two mean girls tried to pull a prank on her, but it went awry as the rainbow prop fell on her. Okay, so she's dead, and she died opening night, and all that happened was a cardboard sign dropped on her, and we're expected to believe that the sandbag girl is fine? And if she's not supposed to be okay, then this high school kept doing the show after the lead killed herself? I wish I could say this is unlikely. Theater people are wild. Sarah and Benny break Ethan out of the mirror and then shatter it. They think the day is saved, but there's 3 minutes left in the episode, so no way. The dead girl is still possessing Erica, meaning that Erica is basically trapped forever, or at least 3 minutes. Also, the show's already opening. They had 3 rehearsals. Are there any non-main characters in this production, or does the play only have 2 characters? I'm just gonna assume, like most schools, that the theater department is violently underfunded, but because the school is already tiny, minuscule, it's like the cost of lunch. It would explain why all the stage crew and lighting work is being done by one guy with no experience.
I'm so excited. My son is the stage manager.
Good for you, girl. You gotta get back out there and find a new man.
And I hope nobody ends up in the hospital. Oh, and again, I'm so sorry.
Okay, what the fuck? Rainbow Connection has to die young, but Sandbags just get some broken bones? I'm with the ghost now. I'd want revenge too.
I don't understand why all these shows nowadays have to have vampires in them.
I know, right? The nerd crew saves the day by shooting Erica with lightning and then trapping the soul in a different mirror. They look on triumphantly as they cover the mirror with a black paint roller. If only there was someone who's been walking around school with a paint roller for days looking for a conclusion to a subplot.
Persephone's famous parting words to Prince Lucan in the play, "Praxie is revealed!" Praxie? I love him!
Or you could do that. I feel like I'm going crazy. Why would they set up the paint roller if they're just gonna use their own? I'm over it. I'm moving on. Pretty good main story, pretty lackluster B-plot. I'm always down for Rory shenanigans, but this could have been in any other show. I can't stay mad at him. I love Rory. Looks like we're finally getting another little sister-centric episode. She's part of what looks like a Girl Scout troop that's also a cult, but maybe it's all inclusive because they're boys, I think. I should not be making these judgment calls. 2012 was a much less accepting time.
That's my mom.
That's my mom. That's my mom. I'm Ethan. I need a babysitter.
Damn. Stuff really gets around in this town.
And Ross gets back on Sunday, so I have 3 days to find a father-proof hiding spot for the donut.
Oh, honey. He's not coming back, is he?
Hurry up, just before the boys find your matches.
Boys! They're boys, confirmed. For now. The Scout Troop transition pipeline. Hey, look, Benny's here. Hey, look, Rory's here.
Hey! Is this for me barfing down your chimney?
No, I just... Wait, you what?
Nothing.
Hey, look, it's Erica. The gang's all here, even the sister. She's been in enough episodes. I think I should probably call her by her actual name, right? Anyway, apparently the new council has a rule about hunting in pairs, so Sarah and Erica are gonna bail and go kill people. While the girls are out on the town, they realize that no one else is. It's barren. Meanwhile, the crazy twins the boys are supposed to watch are strangely calm. That is until they draw a bunch of pictures of a red door and draw on Rory's face while he's running at super speed. Somehow. The moms get home at just the right time to be pissed off, but like I'm no parent and in no position to judge. But I feel like you're overreacting here. It's not like they drew all over the walls, they just drew on pieces of paper and then taped them to the walls. What's the problem? I'm not even trying to be contrarian or like do this as a bit. I legitimately don't understand. Why do you want to crush the creative spirit of the kids you're normally afraid of? This seems like the much healthier outlet.
And every time I searched Val Mudrap, my computer froze on that picture of a red door.
Ooh. Spooky.
Classes are cancelled. All the teaching staff appear to have left.
Left? Left where?
No idea. They just got up and took off. Not even a word of thank you for the donuts I got them for the staff meeting. Well, at least they left me one.
I'm not implying that the show is rerunning plots again, but it is really funny that earlier the teachers were brainwashed by a coffee machine in the teacher's lounge, and now they're being brainwashed by donuts in the teacher's lounge. The cops in this town don't stand a chance.
They're making all the adults leave town and turning the kids into dronios. I wonder what it does to teenagers.
I don't want to know.
Neither do I. It's probably gross. Hormones are a hell of a drug. Rory chases a rat. It was silly. Benny wants to take advantage of the disappearance of all the authority figures, but it doesn't last long as Smosh are beat up by a bunch of children, and it goes on for a long time. I'm just gonna keep talking until it stops, maybe. Jane, her name is Jane, I figured it out, is now fully possessed by the troop. Ethan tries to snap her out, but gets a vision instead.
Ethan, get over here. I think Grandma left something that might be useful.
2 hot girls! Let's go! Benny has the girls drink a random potion that makes them grow tails, and knowing Benny, he definitely did it on purpose. He's a real freak.
Val Mudrap.
It's an anagram from Baldvarp. And it uses the same letters, too.
Jane hit Ethan over the head with a frying pan, and we didn't even get to see it. The boys figure it out and spring into action.
How can you have so much meat in your freezer and none of it be human?
Hey, cool tales.
Tails?
I like that he didn't even question it. Supportive king. The vision shows a giant door, and I thought it was symbolic. It turns out the leader has a giant cartoon key. She also shoots Benny with an evil laser.
Benny! Knock it off, Rory.
You're ruining my fun. Stop it.
Why don't you make me?
No! This is so painful!
And Rory.
I can't hold her! It's all yours, creep weasel!
So was that, like, a monster pretending to be a kid? I think she was just possessed. They sent her to hell. Like, I know she took over the town and all, but did she really? Anyway, forget the kid cursed to eternal damnation. Benny gave the girl some of his blood, and Erica loved it, which she finds gross. Wah, wah. That wasn't actually as Jane-centric of an episode as I thought it was gonna be. She was actually in that a lot less than she is other episodes. Alright gamers, grab a corn dog and your closest beverage because we got another hit Mr. G episode. Let's go! I have to find enjoyment in the smallest places, or else I'll never be happy.
Oh, you know the expression, you can't take it with you?
Yeah?
Ugh. This show thrives on small, charming details. I like that in this point of the show, the gang are all definitely losers, and they're the only ones who show interest in the mummy stuff. Or maybe they're just there to help Benny rob the place.
Benny, maybe she's right. It is stealing.
So? The museum stole it first.
Based, Benny. Benny stole the mummy's pancreas, so the mummy followed them all the way home to get it. Apparently they didn't notice the lumbering mummy stalking them. I give the townspeople a pass because at this point, I feel like they have a don't ask, don't tell policy on creepy stuff. Honey, the skeletons are roaming again. You might want to cancel the cookout. Sarah bails to teach them another lesson about responsibility or whatever, and Smosh's plan is to put the pancreas back at the museum, and then let the mummy follow it back. So you're gonna have the mummy just run on the streets again? If you're already going to the museum, wait, you can't give him a ride? In reality, the reason they let the mummy situation try and fix itself is that the episode fringes on the mummy eating a bunch of Benny's grandma's artifacts and becoming a young, hot guy. And he's not, like, evil or trying to take over the town like the goddess was. He's just, like, a hot guy who Sarah likes and Ethan is awkward about. The stakes have never been lower.
There's a new guy. Cute.
There are very few constants in this universe, but one thing I can count on is if there's a paranormal guy the boys are trying to deal with, Erica's gonna want a piece of him. All the episodes have been puns, as in the nature of the episode titles, but I was pretty shocked this time around when the episode dropped the bombshell that the character's name is in fact Hottie. I thought it was a joke. A night guard at the museum accidentally pours some sand out of some urns and summons two buff dudes whose goal is to take Hottie back to the land of the dead. The gang had nothing to do with this. This is an accident of circumstance. The stakes have never been lower. There's gotta be some entertainment value here.
We're only doing it because we were at the museum today.
That and you have soiled rags hanging from your locker.
Oh, these? I brought them from home.
I say this with complete sincerity. I don't think I'd like this show if it didn't have Rory in it. I rolled these up because I was getting really hot with the fucking lights on me, but the illusion completely fades because I didn't put paint on these. Rory makes a bunch of mummies, one of which is a cat that meows, meaning it's alive. Then in the next scene, he has a dead mummy cat they want to test the reviving process on, meaning there are two possibilities. One, Rory let the alive cat go and found a dead one that he wrapped exactly like the last one, or Rory killed a cat. It's the second option. I changed my mind. Friendship ended with Rory. Now Mr. G is my new best friend.
Hey! What's he doing here?
Your mom.
Get fucking owned, Ethan. Doing your mom! Doing your mom! The buff guys show up at Ethan's household and Hottie vaporizes them in one shot. Are we sure he isn't a threat? Well, actually, the only threat he introduces is that he's madly in love with Sarah and wants to drag her to the underworld with him. Oh wait, no. That's definitely a threat. Oh, wait, is the episode of conflict now? I know I've been sucking season 2's dick really hard, but it's a breath of fresh air to not have to hear the whoosh sound effect every time there's a cut. That being said,
This all started when I wanted to grow a beard. And now Sarah's dating a mummy.
That was a weird cut, right? Like, there's nothing to convey the passage of time. I had to do a double take when I saw it because I thought the episode skipped or maybe they cut something out. We've crossed the threshold and now the climax is at the museum. Is this offensive? Like, I'm just a funny white guy on the internet, more white than ever now, but this seems... never mind.
And the whole afterworld thing is a little freaky.
Sarah, you have nothing to fear. If your heart is free of sin, you will get into paradise.
Yeah, no way this is working out. I don't know what the Egyptian religion views as sin, but Sarah has definitely killed people. The boys arrive on a shopping cart pushed by Rory. The show doesn't always land the high school experience very well, but nothing makes me think of high school more than a group of boys having the silliest, goofiest, jovial time by doing shenanigans. That's not a joke. 90% of my time in high school was committing shenanigans.
Wait, what is that? It is the two stars have fallen from the heavens,
Oh my god! Hottie, however, has had enough of these shenanigans, so he jumps to using the laser staff to push Sarah into the underworld. It's been a while since I got to say this because season 2 has been using its paranormal aspects pretty well, but Sarah saves the day with violence. She's not getting into heaven.
Why do all hot guys have to be such jerks?
Oh, what, did Ethan write this episode? Everything goes back to normal. Nobody who works at this museum cares enough about whatever the kids are doing in the back rooms. Also, this small town with one school, with one trophy, has a museum with a mummy in Canada? I would rather die than go back to high school, but honestly, I do miss the shenanigans. I first watched this show as a child, and like most teen sitcoms, they're actually made for, you know, not teenagers. So you view this idealized version of high school and you get excited. You're like, oh man, this is what it's gonna be like. So I was excited when I first got there. I did really miss recess though, because who else am I gonna play the game that has insane lore with that I made up? But now that I'm an adult and thoroughly out of high school, I can look back at teen sitcoms like this and be charmed at how interesting they made high school seem. Somebody jerked off in a boy's urinal at my school.
Yo, wee-dog, you got 20 minutes before MC Monster Bad drops the beats from the streets and schools these fools. Who is it? MC Monster Bad. That's me. Rory?
At this point, I have to ask myself, if I can't write jokes about the show better than what's on screen currently, why even continue the video? Rory fulfills his destiny of becoming a skinny nerd boy by getting fully enchanted by an alt girl. We've seen the nerd crew play with dolls, join the school play, and role play in public, but now they're engaged in the nerdiest loser activity ever: the talent show. High school talent shows are made up of two types of people: fun, silly people doing it as a bit, and uncomfortable confidence. Rory's rapping, Benny's juggling, Sarah and Erica are dancing, and Ethan is normal. They're all competing against the alt girl and her magical singing voice that sounds scarily like the Hex Girls. I don't think it's on purpose, but you know, I'm on board regardless. But this girl may have something up her sleeve.
Serena sang a beautiful song.
Quit making video game references I don't understand.
The gang is smart enough to figure out what's going on by now. This is like the 25th paranormal thing in the span of one whole school year in a couple of months. Spoiler alert, the episode after this is the Halloween episode, so assuming they went back to school either at the end of August or beginning of September, that's 10 weeks. This is episode 9. They're almost averaging a monster a week. My point being, they already suspected she was evil, but Ethan needed a vision to tell him what they already knew. But as it turns out, even after the vision told him everything, they were wrong. She isn't a mermaid, she's a siren. Tomato, tomato. All mermaids are sirens, but not all sirens are mermaids. Some are high school disasters. She's only had a couple performances, but she's already got a mosh pit. That's impressive. The nerd crew has a plan to record her singing to throw it back at her, but they still need an opportunity to do so. So their plan is to get into the talent show as a band to stop her from making everyone go crazy. Now, I want you guys to hear me out on this.
1, 3, 5, 7. You, me, never and always, baby. Maybe together, love, kiss, hurt, pain. Say go to sudden rage.
This is the greatest show of all time.
Musatronics!
Hey, Mr. Stern, you ready for a dance explosion?
What is happening? Is this show still about vampires? The girls are bummed that they got snubbed from the lowest possible thing you could perform at, but this seems like another golden opportunity to get the gang all together. I mean, if we're going the Hex Girls route, we might as well go full Scooby Gang. I know it's part of their plan to save the school, but come on, they do an entire performance before that. You can't have the girls dance in the background? I think it'd be a really sweet moment to have them all perform together as losers. We have yet to see any of the vampires' families until right now, where we meet rorri's mom, who absolutely loves him and supports him in everything he does. She's great. But enough about her, what are the musatronics spitting?
After dinner that you're waiting for, the flavor gets your feet tapping on that floor. You never want to finish all your Brussels sprouts, but the treat that's coming makes you scream and shout. Gotta get that cake. Yeah, gotta eat that cake.
Yeah, pop and lock, honey!
Come on now, who wants some cake? I want some cake.
This episode, this song, this sequence belongs in a museum for film. It's kind of a crapshoot which of these videos get popular and which don't, which is fine. But I had a lot of people comment on the Total Drama video that because of watching that video, they started watching the series for the first time. So I don't know what kind of clout I have or what kind of, convincing power I have. But if I can get everyone into this show, like if I can somehow brute force a community and then someone who's actually talented out there can make a cover of this song, I will be the happiest I've ever been. It may seem like I hate the show because I'm making fun of it, but in reality, I love this show. I just hate myself. And I absolutely love that they're so into it too. Like, they could have half-assed this. It's a pretty unimportant part of their plan, but no, they're going full throttle. I love these dorks. Remember, this aired on the Disney Channel in the early 2010s. So at the same time they had Selena Gomez, Bridget Mendler, Demi Lovato, the Jonas Brothers, they also had these guys, and they were my favorites. I saw an interview with David Henry once, who played Justin on Wizards. I don't think I'll be able to find it, but if I do, that he said the show was originally about his character, but then at the time Disney they were leaning more towards female-led shows, which I think is why I latched onto My Babysitter's a Vampire, because at the time it was like the only male-led show, so that's why I liked it so much. I'm sexist. Oh yeah, there's an episode happening, I forgot. Grandma shuts the curtain with her magic so they can kill her without getting acquitted. Earlier, I was confused as to why they kept the witch cheerleader around, but I think the show heard me, because now every paranormal entity gets killed or banished to hell. Sorry, 10-year-old, you were born evil. And that's the episode. I've been making these little review sections at the end of each episode shorter and shorter, because we are barreling towards the end at an alarming rate, and I have a lot to say about that. But honestly, there's not a lot to say about this episode that I didn't say during what I was just saying. Beyond, I love when the show lets these nerds be nerds, but not in like a creepy nice guy way. I know I talked about the overarching plot and how important it is to keeping up momentum, but honestly, nothing is better than just a weekly wacky shenanigan with close friends. Oh cool, it's another appearance of my favorite character, Mr. G, and he's talking about native artifacts. I'm gonna regret asking this question, but how did this town steal a mummy and a native mask? They don't call it Whitechapel for nothing. Don't make a joke about Canada. Don't make a joke about all the indigenous people they found buried there.
Now, I hope that some of these native artifacts are going to inspire some culturally diverse costume choices this Halloween.
Don't make a joke about Justin Trudeau. You want the Canadians to accept you. Don't mention how Justin Trudeau did blackface for multiple Halloweens. I don't even think I could show this on screen. So, of course, Mr. G is in possession of a native mask in his 10th grade classroom. And because he just leaves it out, rorriM puts it on and it gets stuck to his face and transforms him. Working on these videos is very hectic. This one is either going to be really long or split into 2 parts. And if it is really long, I might just scrap the other October video. So I'm going to avoid talking about the childhood trauma thing just in case I end up not releasing it. However, this is very similar to a bunch of stuff I talked about. rorriM does a haunted mask Deku scrub situation to himself, and it's greatly upsetting. Speaking of greatly upsetting, Sarah is greatly upset because she wants a party, but has to babysit stupid Ethan and his stupid traumatized sister. Ethan wants to make Sarah happy, so he decides to throw a party at his place with a bunch of nerd friends so she can work and still be able to party. But he wavers on inviting rorriM because...
Do you remember what happened last time?
I'm a caveman, I'm a caveman, I'm a caveman. I'm a caveman.
Because he's a Neanderthal pilled Sigma male and they're jealous. I think I made some of those words up. I know I got you guys. I know when I said speaking of something greatly upsetting, you thought another offensive thing was gonna appear.
Arriba!
Who are you supposed to be?
Well, I couldn't decide between Merlin and a Mexican wrestler, so I picked both. Say hola to El Merlo Loco, the wizard wrestler who combines the best of the arcane and the insane.
Not only is Erica purposefully hanging out with Rory, but she also doesn't notice that he's mumbling caveman guy now. The Sigma grind works, boys. Start doing this.
Girl Layla won't stop flirting with me.
Dude.
Benny, you've been hitting on nearly every girl you've seen so far, and then a funny nerd in a gorilla suit hits on you and you're backing down. You know how many guys have this exact dream girl? Ethan has to go take Jane trick-or-treating real quick as Rory arrives to the party. The trick-or-treating isn't really important to the plot or the review. I just really like Halloween specials and Halloween iconography. It's nice to see familiar sets of the house and the school with pumpkins strewed about. It does yield a really strange moment, though.
Oh, what a sweet little mouse. Huh?
This show has stopped me dead in my tracks multiple times. More than any other show. Masked Rory's new power is the ability to turn people into their Halloween costumes. This same plot happened in the Halloween Town movie I talked about for childhood trauma, among other things. I feel like Rory has the highest power scale in the series now. Magic, werewolf, vampire, and a rapper? He turns girl into a gymnast, turns Jane into a cat, turns ninja into a ninja. We don't have time to dig into the logistics of making a toy sword into a real sword. We have other minor plot points we need to dig into. Masked Rory turns the mom into an actual witch and Benny into...
Okay. Don't tell me. You don't speak English. See.
I think this would be more offensive if he spoke anything other than basic Spanish. Hola. Si. Cabeza. Also, that's clearly the WWE World Tag Team Championship from the 2000s. Boy, they're embarrassed. I hope someone got fired for this. Right, so the mask's power is that it can turn anyone into whatever costume they're wearing, whatever they are intending to look like. Sarah is just dressed like a normal girl, but she is trying to look like a character from a movie, and the mask knows that, so when he curses her, she becomes the character from the movie. But what are the limits of this? Because Ethan is dressed like a character from Dusk, the Twilight parody, and when he's turned into that character, we see his fangs and he makes the same hissing noise all the other vampires have made in the series thus far. The mask turns Ethan's mom into a witch who uses her magic to turn Ethan into a frog until Benny turns him back. His mom didn't know magic before. She didn't even know magic existed, so this mask can give magical powers to those that don't normally possess them. It made Ethan a vampire, and even more interestingly, it made Sarah not a vampire.
An ancient warlord used this mask to turn his warriors into wolves and bears.
We know that. What happens after?
The gods were angry with this warlord, so they blasted his mask off with a bolt of lightning, and his warriors turned back to normal.
We have heard about so many gods that actually exist in this universe. Both the Egyptian and native gods are real canonically. And the gods are angry because the mask utilizes the power of... This is the plot of Majora's Mask. I don't have a paper for this. So, in theory, I know we're getting into could God make a rock that he couldn't lift territory, but... you could dress like a god with the intention of being like, oh, my costume is I'm a god. And the mask could bless that person or curse them. And that person would become a god. The girl in the gorilla costume is making gorilla noises, but every other costume gets transformed into something more realistic. I think this gorilla suit is supposed to be an actual gorilla. Erica pulls a Sarah and attempts to solve the problem with violence by killing everyone. She knows these are just kids. She calls it nerd bashing time. What happens to this robot when he turns back? She just punches the shit out of the gorilla, but then she just walks up to Rory and doesn't do anything. I think it's because she can't bear to hurt him, even though she did earlier. And then she gets transformed. And then Ethan does. And then Sarah does. Oh, damn. They lost. How tragic. This episode was really fun, but unfortunately, it is the final episode. This is how the series ends. Nah, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine if the show My Babysitter's a Vampire ended anti-climactically like that? Oh, it ends on a disappointing cliffhanger. That's crazy. Could you imagine? El Merlo Loco lasers the mask off of Rory and everyone turns back to normal. And it hits them right as Ethan and Sarah's characters are about to kiss. And Rory ends the episode by saying,
"Is this a party? Am I invited?"
Which, considering the episode started with Smosh deciding against inviting him, is deeply sad. Sorry, I'm still thinking about the show ending like that. God, that's so funny. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. Don't worry, this isn't another holiday episode. The name is just a pun with no context. We're starting in medias res again as Benny, Ethan, and Sarah are all walking around an empty school being chased by different dangers while making it clear that they're all supposed to be in the same spot. Hey look, the school's got more trophies. I guess the hockey jocks finally paid off. After the intro, we cut back to where the story is supposed to start as the three teenagers are having milk and cookies. You know, teenager stuff. At least slushies are more believable.
You're never too old for a cookie sandwich.
Just when I think you found every way there is to be disgusting, you find another one.
Okay, Sarah, we're just using that word liberally now. Brainwashing all the girls in school is disgusting. This is adorable. Benny's grandma shows up and they all conveniently list off their greatest fears in front of her. We've seen Scooby-Doo plots, Buffy plots, Goosebumps plots. Unfortunately, this exact same thing happens in an episode of Total Drama. So good of an idea, they wrote it twice. Never escaping that Total Drama video, am I?
I sense a coming darkness. A force so powerful, so evil, that none of you stand a chance against it alone.
First of all, rude thing to say. Second off, yeah, they do. They've had to rescue each other more times than they've worked together. The whole gang ain't even here. What a very suspicious thing to say, Grandma. The next morning, the Wonder Trio wakes up and goes to school without noticing that the town is completely empty. You didn't notice there was no traffic? Or do the people who live in this town always hide in their homes due to the constant horrors that march down the street on a weekly basis?
Ooh. Okay, that one's on me, boys. That one's on me. Okay.
I thought he was just content being alone, but this is framed like he didn't notice he was. You've been sitting here for a while. How did you just now notice this?
No way. I thought the school trip to the candy factory was next week.
Cartoon-ass, goofy-ass school. Benny is chased by the cyber dentist from a scary movie that scarred him. Ethan is chased by someone in a black cloak, mysterious. And Sarah is chased by a cooler, evil version of herself. You know she's evil because she has a purple streak in her hair.
You put one wash-away blue streak in your hair, and I lost an arm.
Exactly. Life got dark.
I can't keep track of what videos I do and don't reference Community anymore. They're starting to stack up. Sarah is having a terrible time, but Ethan and Benny have yet to meet up with the creatures we saw in the opening in their universes. So they use this time to reap the benefits of being alone. Ethan sings over the loudspeaker and Benny eats fries that are probably super old. Ethan's seer powers have no clear rules, but they're also getting stronger every day. He can communicate to people through the objects that hold strong emotions for them. He uses Sarah's mirror and Benny's gym shorts to commune with the only two people who also happen to be in this situation.
Look, we're stuck in our own universes.
How do you know that? As far as you know, you're the only one stuck. The three come back together and discover that they all have to face their fears, but can't do it alone, but are confused as to where the black cloak fits into this, as Ethan has never seen something like it before.
Look, we can't defeat them by ourselves. We have to come at them together.
I know we joke about the conflict always being solved with violence, but maybe if the moral of your episode is we're only strong when we work together, then you shouldn't have Sarah stake herself single-handedly.
Too bad. Kind of liked her boots.
Do we have enough time left for me to go in detail and figure out why vampires' clothes disappear when they get staked? No, I didn't think so. Time to bust out the corkboard again. After they've dealt with evil Sarah, they combat the cyber dentist with what they call logical paradoxes, but are really just riddles and or puns.
Why do we park in a driveway and drive in a parkway? Your mission is not to accept this mission. Do you accept?
Logic paradox detected. Must even logic can help.
It's working!
Why do you have to put coffee inside a coffee maker? Doesn't it make the coffee?
The horse's name was Friday. The trio takes out the two known fears, but cannot stop the Black Cloak. I tend not to mention the B-plots if they seem unimportant, but as it turns out, Rory showing Erica his stuffed animal all episode was the most important piece. Talking through the plush is what leads the Blonde Squad to be able to save the trio. You would think the lesson they're gonna get off of this is they initially thought we need the three of us to overcome problems, and then they lose, but then Rory and Erica come and help them and they realize, oh, we're actually not a full unit without all five of us. But that's not what the episode's going for. The Erica and Rory thing was just accidental. Every time they leave them out of the group meetings, my heart breaks a little. As it turns out, all of this was Grandma's doing. She separated all of them into pocket universes to show them that they really do need each other, even though they didn't. She's preparing them for something important, it seems.
Who's that faceless guy in the hoodie throwing fireballs at me?
What? You were supposed to be alone. Your fear is losing those closest to you.
Well, yeah, that used to be my fear. Now it's fireball throwing guy.
There shouldn't have been anyone there with you. This has something to do with the darkness I feel. Trouble is coming.
That's ominous. Guys, that was the second to last episode. Well, technically there's 2 more episodes, but it's a 2-part finale. It's the same story, not just a season finale. Series finale. So I will be talking about both as if they are one long episode, because that's how it's presented. Without further ado, the end of My Babysitter's a Vampire. Obviously from the title of the 2-parter, Ethan is finally gonna make a move on Sarah.
You can tell the Vampire Council that they'll have to wait. Today, I am a man.
Oh, you're using the stove all by yourself?
And for these final episodes, the theme song has changed just a little bit. The lyrics are also changed along with this, which is hard to get around because I already didn't understand them. Now it's Girl Next Door and It's Me instead of Just For Me, because supposedly the girl next door is singing now. And Make Believe instead of Maybelline, I think. I know I've been doing bits about this show the whole time, and really I can rewatch it whenever I want, but the fact that this is the finale and we're in the end game, we're nearing the end, it's getting to me. As it turns out, the reason Ethan has today's date marked on the calendar is because he made a bet with Benny that he has a year to ask out Sarah, or he owes him money. Maybe I do need a corkboard. We can't pinpoint exactly when this bet takes place, but we would have to assume it's obviously after they met her, and we don't get a Halloween special until season 2, which is the 2nd year of high school, which means that first season movie takes place either late fall or after winter break, meaning that the entire show, the entire series up until this point, only took place over the span of like a year. Look at how much has changed. Before Ethan can ask her though, Rory shows up and demands he speaks with the council again. And he's also got some goons. Unfortunately, none of them have fedoras, so I don't care. He's dragged away and told to hold the hand of a very dead man.
Can't really look for things. I kind of just see what I see.
No, Ethan, you see what the plot needs you to see at the exact time they need you to see it.
Where is it? Where is the Lucifactor?
Not only is this thematically similar to the movie, but we also get another MacGuffin, which I'm down for. I love mysterious magical artifacts. But before that,
I'd like to ask you, maybe we could,
He's actually doing it. I changed my mind. This is definitely worth $100.
Sarah, would you like to go to dinner with me tonight?
What, like a date?
No, not like that. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, exactly like that. On a date.
Sure. What the heck? Can be fun.
See you tonight then?
She said yes.
why am I getting giddy about this? Why am I excited about these characters? I'm invested. This sucks. Ethan draws the symbol he saw in the vision that he didn't mention to the council, but Benny believes he needs some practice, so Rory plays the girl, obviously. Remember, we've only ever seen him float twice.
How necessary would you say that wig is?
Very. I totally think it brings out the color in my eye.
Okay.
Compliment her eyes or her shoes. Do you have a map?
Why?
Because I just got lost in your shoes.
Oh my.
I'm making a map.
A map? But that looks like a A close-up of my eyes?
As Ethan heads out for his date, Benny and Rory try and figure out what the symbol he drew means, as Rory picks up a map that looks exactly like said symbol. Apparently the dad does insurance, which out of all the reveals in the finale is the biggest because we did not know what his deal was before. Also, I guess he won the house in the divorce. I don't think we see the mom anymore. I don't want to poke the bear, but I feel like something awful must have happened on set between these two that they could not appear in any more episodes together. The map marks weird incidents that no company would ever insure, so Benny and Rory immediately go to the worst one.
It's not a date. It's just two friends having a date. Flower equals date.
That's rough. But we can't start the date before another classic Ethan vision.
Hello, Ethan. Hello, Mario.
We cut back to Rory and Benny shenanigans, and it's so nice to get a new location.
On the monster scale, vampire beats ghost. You're the scariest thing down here.
Okay, but is that true? We saw him get bodied by a demon. A smoke monster, though. Not sure where that scales. Ethan takes Erica's advice in which restaurant to take Sarah to, but as it turns out, Erica works there and it's a vampire restaurant. What a wacky story. I miss the old silly one-offs. I might just rewatch the show again. The black robe from Ethan's reality last time shows up to laser the smoke monster. Ethan finally tells Sarah that he did see Jesse, but avoided it because he didn't want to ruin the date. But Ethan's abilities are getting crazy strong, and he appears to Jesse wherever he is. Question. Do you want me to explain the exposition, or I can let them do it? I answer my own question.
Someone's looking for the lucifractor. You have to find it. The lucifractor absorbs the dark energy that keeps vampires alive. 2 centuries ago, a sorcerer almost drove us out of Whitechapel with it. And hid the lucifractor is in the old dark with a sort of watchdog behind to guard it.
So Jesse left the smoke monster to guard the lucifractor. I don't know why he needed the cubulate animus when he's already got the more round artifact. Benny and Rory make their way back to the restaurant to ruin Ethan and Sarah's date. Rory asks to hold the orb, but gets crazy weakened. The artifact only works on vampires, and boy does it work on them. But because they didn't know, the boys take this orb to a vampire restaurant. For vampires, by vampires. But the smoke monster follows them, so Ethan uses the orb to suck up the smoke guy, and it's starting to go right to his head.
So much power. I can feel it.
I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies for the first time recently. I know Gollum when I see one. I guess not everyone here is a vampire.
If you talk about what you saw tonight, the only people who will believe you are the ones who will eat you.
I feel like we can bump the amount of people they sent to therapy up to 5 now. Why even hide it anymore? This town is very clearly fucked to capacity. The next day, Ethan and Benny are fighting over this important artifact they brought to school for some reason. And the new vice principal sees this and confiscates it because it's causing a ruckus.
You can't take that.
Oh boy, he's going Smeagol mode. And then, in the final minute of part 1 of the finale, it is revealed the vice principal is actually collecting all the magic stuff he stole from Smosh this year. Because he is evil. I mean, look at that evil look. I know I said I was going to talk about these 2 episodes as if they were one, but I couldn't help but say it. It took everything in my soul to not reveal this twist. I definitely hinted at it. The thing is, if you asked me before I did this rewatch, I would not have brought this up because I didn't remember it. But as soon as I saw this guy on screen, my caveman instincts kicked in and my brain lit up and reminded me that he is not to be trusted. It's called survival of the fittest. It just so happens that my brain is good at recognizing fictional threats and bad at recognizing real ones. Not only is Vice P the bad guy, but he was also the man in the black cloak. It'd be ridiculous if there were 2 final bosses. Ethan and Benny rummage through his office trying to find the lucifractor, but instead they find all the other stuff he took from them this year. You've been back to school for like 3 months and he already stole your entire armory. Benny takes back some of his favorite mystical items, one of which is a ring that allows him to look like anyone. But before we continue with that, we have to get uncomfortable.
That was a mistake.
Still thinking about our date last night, huh?
No, Benny and I were just... Wait, what? You thought our date was a mistake?
Well, I guess, if you do, I mean...
Oh, yeah, totally. I guess sometimes you gotta try something before you know how horrible it'll be.
I know he didn't just say that. Benny uses the ring to appear as the vice principal so he can go into his office unnoticed to steal the orb back. And he goes around doing classic Benny shenanigans. And enjoy it because it's the last one we're gonna see.
You think you're so cool, Brady. So cool. And you're mean to Benny Weir. When it's obvious that he is way more awesome than you, you're off the football team. Forever. Deal with it.
Oh cool, we got his last name. I don't know what to do with this information, but it's cool. Benny Vice is confronted by Evil Vice in his office and out-magics him. He magics the ring off of his hand and puts a spell on him. He's not just a normal guy stealing powerful items, he's a magic guy stealing powerful items. But he's still human. You've killed way worse. Ethan shows up to rescue Benny, but it's clearly too late. He clocks the letter on the table and gets a custom-made vision. Now, do you want me to explain the exposition? Or the show? I answer my own question again.
I never would have guessed you were a seer, or that you would know about the Lucifractor. The Bat Brigade stole the Lucifractor from my family, and then they took Whitechapel itself. Now that I have one, I'll take back the other. My grandfather, Galen Sinistero, would be so proud of me. And if you're thinking of getting in my way, here's a peek at coming attractions.
The show hasn't really been scary up until this point, and it didn't need to be, but this hand reveal to show the ring on his hand when we know Vice has it, perfect. And then, something horrifying.
Ethan, are you okay?
What's wrong with you?
What? What's wrong with you?
Before I did this rewatch, before I did any research, when all I had was the idea that I wanted to talk about this, I remembered 5 things. Blood Drive, movie theater, Cubula Animus, how the series ends, and Ethan seeing corpse people.
Ethan? Your mom says you're nuts.
You don't need to show the mom when you can just have her mentioned.
Everybody's dead, Benny. I see them. They're all dead. Relax, dude. First, you see dead people. Benny.
This was on the Disney Channel. The only reason this wasn't featured in the childhood trauma video is because I knew at the time I was gonna talk about that show, so I held off. Benny takes Ethan to his grandma, who's gotten them out of tough spots before.
What you see is not real. I don't have a spike through my head.
You don't have a head, actually?
Lovely. Grandma invites Sarah over to help Ethan, which must be super awkward considering the last things he said to her were, "That date sucked," and "What's wrong with you?" Grandma tells them they have to fight fear with something stronger. And also they could just kill the vice principal with like a knife. He's just a guy. Then she touches the paper and gets put to sleep indefinitely, but before that, Ethan catches her and goes inside her mind. He's getting stronger. They're on their own now. The black robe has taken out someone very close to them. The fight is on. We could just kill him. The Black Cloak shows up to dismantle the Vampire Council laser by laser, and Rory is the only one that gets away. As the robe moves into the castle deeper, Rory and Erica warn the little council leader, who demands they leave.
Let him have this town. He's human. We can simply return when he dies of old age.
Okay, or you could kill him faster. Erica and Rory have come a long way. When we started the series, all they cared about was being a vampire. But now they're ready to abandon the council they both love so much to help their friends fight. But instead, they're put under a charm and are forced to leave with the leader. As much as I love these episodes, my only real complaint is that we don't get to see the gang of 5 all together again one last time. Also, one big complaint at the end. Ethan is tired of running and being scared. He knows an emotion stronger. In this now empty house, he holds the hands of the people he cares about the most, and the power of love overcomes the spell he's put under. Criticize the power of love trope all you want. Oh, it's corny. It's not like you'll ever experience it. Ethan invites Jesse into Benny's home to get some info, but all he gets is,
how did you stop his super great grandfather? He loved power. He loved to show it off. I let him wipe out most of my flock with the Lucifractor while I snuck up behind him and drained him dry. I told you I'd done worse.
That's not a terrible plan. Like, where do we draw the line? You guys sent a kid to hell forever. He defecated through a sunroof. The classic trio and Jesse confront Vice at the council building, and Benny reaches his full magic potential under the mind control of Vice. But that's easily done away with an MP4.
After that time a magic camera turned Benny into Evil Benny, he sent me an email marked, "In case of Evil Benny, open this." I never thought I'd get the chance to use it.
Continuity. This really is the finale. The vice principal's plan is coming to fruition as they were the perfect angle to shoot him in the face. He's just a man! But maybe being a man will be his downfall. Ethan gets inside his mind and taunts him about not being powerful. The Lucifractor is powerful, and without it, he's nothing. He says he can't handle it, and that he's afraid. The taunting works as the evil black-robed vice principal absorbs the full power of the Lucifractor. Ethan, Benny, Sarah, and Jesse start to run away. Then, at the top of the town, Erica, Rory, and the head vampire watch the town explode into a blast of energy. And that's all we see.
Nice explosion. Ethan and Benny will be sad if they miss that.
And then the two blondes fly away with the leader, whose spell they are still under, as they wait for the vice principal to die off. That's how the show ends. I'm not doing a bit this time. That's how the series ends. That's how the franchise ends. You think you're disappointed? Imagine how I felt at the ripe old age of 11, seeing this on the Disney Channel in early October. I was so confused. Because it doesn't leave on a cliffhanger to be a bittersweet ending or purposefully be unsatisfying. They are clearly building up to something else. They clearly thought the show was going to keep going. But it didn't keep going. In September 2013, Fresh TV decided they weren't going to go forward with the series, that they had no future for a season 3. But we're tossing around the idea of a second movie. A second movie that would never come to fruition. Second movie never happened. Yet. I don't know how much sway or clout or any influence I have on the internet, but you guys do not understand how badly I need to see this series ended properly. I mean, the same company is bringing back Total Drama on HBO Max. Maybe they're not doing that anymore. Weirdly enough, the finale is actually incredibly similar to the Gumball finale, where it's purposefully unsatisfying so they can use it as leverage and fan support to get a greenlit movie. A movie that's in development and also probably won't come out now. Legitimately, everything I was excited for in the past 2 years has been axed. Yay! But I could still hold out hope that maybe, if I can convince enough people to say maybe post hashtag My Babysitter's a Vampire second movie, that doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's not catchy enough. I said earlier that it's a crapshoot which of these videos are popular and which ones aren't, but if this has reached you, and you have newfound interest in the show, or you remember watching the show and you also want to see how it ends, make yourself heard. I have enough power to make people annoying on the internet. Or even if you think everyone coming back for a movie a decade later is funny, ironically, you're still part of the program. I don't know if everyone would be on board. I don't actually know if anyone would be on board. One of the actors is on Riverdale now. I hate when that happens. But the chances of the series getting a revival movie are not zero. I don't care if they look older. I don't care if everyone's moved on. I don't care how it looks. It could be no budget. I just want to see the story wrapped up. As a kid, I remembered this as everyone in the town blowing up, but the orb can only really harm vampires, so as long as Sarah and Jesse got out, they'd be fine. Also, the whole reason the council left is so they can wait for the vice principal to die, and I think he just did. You could go back right now. Oh, but won't the actors look noticeably older? They're supposed to be vampires. They don't age. I don't care. All right, enough about the non-existent second movie. What did I think about the show? The only reason I'm pushing so hard for a potential revival is that, like I said, one of the 5 things I remembered is the anticlimactic ending. It was my first experience with disappointment. At the time, I let that anticlimactic ending spoil my view of the series, and I didn't appreciate the journey of how we got there. When I said I love this series, I meant it. It's not perfect, but stuff doesn't need to be good for you to love it. It just needs to have impacted you. Or you need to have watched it as a kid. That's a good way to make sure you never move on. Happy Halloween, everyone. Blah.
I celebrated Halloween once.
All right. Made a big deal about you coming back. I honestly forgot you were here.